fact, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. No.
Tell you something, brother.
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Who are these people?
Who are these people?
All right. Welcome to this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm Angel Rivera alongside Miss Witchy Perfect once again. And how are you doing this weekend?
Good. My son is much better and in high spirits of, fully recovering. So we're out of the woodwork for him. So just big sigh of relief that we don't have to, go to the ER or whatever. So let's talk about wrestling because there's some interesting things that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I'm good. This actually last weekend was the first weekend we missed since we started the show. So it was weird not doing the show, but we're back this week and let's get started because we got a lot to talk about. So last weekend was the King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's King and Queen of the Ring. I keep calling King of the Ring
Mm-hmm.
and ignoring the Queen part. But to be fair, they added the Queen for this show, so it's like if I say King of the Ring multiple times, I'm sorry. But that pay-per-view was last Saturday afternoon. And the next day, it was AEW Double or Nothing, which there's plenty to talk about there. I've rolled my eyes.
I'm right there with you.
I didn't watch the show, but I did watch clips, and I did listen to Cornette's reviews, and I watched some of it because there were clips online, so that's what I watched. But
yeah, I did catch Cornette, and I know his power was out because they had like massive storms down there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Doing last week, because my son's fever spiked at 104, it was not fun going to the ER and finding out that your son had pneumonia. So I'm like, where could he get it from? I mean, and then I remembered, he helped his grandmother mow her lawn, and of course the pollen was really bad around here. So of course. Wow. I mean, I was like, oh man. I mean, I didn't even get back till almost 8:30 from the ER. Wow. So I was like, this, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's tough to get through. But, he's better now. So
definitely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we kind of you talked more about that yesterday with your health insurance, and it was like, wow.
Because we had to go back a second time because he literally was spewing some red liquid, and I panicked. I hit the panic button, and they're like, "Oh, it's just irritation of the esophagus." I'm like, "Well, again, coughing that up is not ever good."
Yeah.
So it's like, of course I'm going to panic. I'm his mother. Why wouldn't I panic? But he only coughs a little bit. When he's jumping around. I told him not to jump around because he's still kind of recovering. Try telling a 7-year-old that. They're like, they want to jump around. They want to have fun. And then they realize, oh, yeah, I'm still recovering from an illness.
Yeah.
I got a tiger by the tail,
Yes. So let's see. Well, I'm just going to start in order here. This is a quick review because the show actually just had 6 matches. Okay. So it's a total opposite of AEW, who they try to jam in as many matches as possible. And WWE is like, let's do 5 or 6 and let's just go home, So in the first match, which was which actually was a pre-show match. So technically only 5 matches in the card, but whatever. The first match, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defeated Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell to retain the women's tag team title. I didn't see this match, so I don't have much of an opinion on it, but they did win. You know, Bianca and Jade retained. They're going to tell that story for at least the next year or so.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's that. The first match of the pay-per-view was Liv Morgan defeating Becky Lynch for the women's title, world title.
A lot of people didn't like this match. I kept getting that they just didn't like it, even though I think didn't she retain Becky Lynch?
No, she dropped into Liv Morgan.
Oh, she dropped. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why.
that's
That's
because
why.
yeah, because not Sammy, Dominic Mysterio interfered and accidentally cost Becky Lynch the belt. So yeah, so again, allegedly Becky Lynch contract is up, so she just right now has no job and sitting at home. She's gonna take a
Oh.
couple. But with the weird, I'm not sure that I buy that because Becky Lynch, yeah, she jobbed Liv Morgan twice, once in the pay per view and once on Raw earlier
Hmm.
last week or this week. But you know, she did jobs, you know, in screwy ways. Like for both times because of Dominic, you know, basically accidentally helping Liv retain. Or
And didn't Liv kiss him?
yeah, at the end of Raw. Actually, no, it happened after they went off the air. They accidentally went off the air early. Very AEW-ish for WWE, but
Yeah, I mean, what?
they weren't
Why
supposed to go
would
off
Liv
the
Morgan
air.
kiss him? Of
Don't
all
know.
people.
My my guess is like that. Let me take everything Rhea Ripley loves because she injured me. So it's like that includes
Oh.
Dominic. So they're telling that story, but the show ended way too early before they can actually get to that, or they ran out of time. You know, one or the
Hmm.
other. So very AEW-ish there, but you know that's probably criticism there, running out of time before the show ends. But yeah, Liv Morgan wins the women's world title. The reason why I don't buy Becky's contract being us because she didn't get beat clean either time. She
Hmm.
got beat by just screwy finishes like that. And so I don't. Why would WWE do that for her if her contract's up and she is going to stay home for a while? Do her
Yeah, I
that
don't
favor.
know. Unless there's something they're not telling us.
Yeah, that
Maybe like an injury or maybe
yeah
she's
she's
pregnant.
I don't know. I'm suspecting that either she's agreed to an extension or she actually signed one. It's just that they're making it seem like she's expired and going to sit at home. Oh, I heard maybe she's going to AEW. Yeah, commit career suicide by going to AEW.
Oh, I hope not.
I
No,
don't see that
Becky,
happening.
Becky, honey, listen, listen. If you watch the show, Becky Lynch, please do not ruin your career and your body for AEW. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's career suicide. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she goes from being one of the top girls, not only in not only one of the top people in wrestling, but forget about top girl. She's one of the top people. Period.
Right,
I mean,
right,
she's the most recognizable figures in wrestling right now.
right.
So yeah, let me go to AEW and trust my career to Tony Khan. I mean, I don't. No matter how much money he offers you, I don't think it's worth it. You know.
You could not give me $1 billion to go to AEW, so I would ruin my career, ruin my body, be probably crippled for life. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, I
No,
don't.
no, 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 no.
That's why I don't. Yeah, on top of that, they protected her massively by having Dominic accidentally help Liv win twice, even though he didn't
Mm-hmm.
mean to do it. So that's
Okay,
a
so
weird
it's kind
thing.
of like a oopsie.
Yeah, it was twice, like an oopsie. Yeah, it's like the first time at the pay per view, he threw a chair in the ring, and Becky didn't want to use it, or so Liv grabbed it and used it, and then hit her finish, and then pinned Becky. And then it happened again, and it was a steel cage match on Raw, where Becky, I think Braun Strowman came out and started chasing the Judgment Day around, and Braun Strowman like smashed Dominic into the cage door and hit Becky in the head, and lived
Ouch.
and escaped the cage. So again, protecting Becky, a girl who's allegedly her contract is up, and
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna sit at home for a while. So and that tells me what they think of Liv Morgan. I mean, they don't think she can beat Becky clean, or Becky refused to lose to her clean, one or the other.
Yeah,
So you tell me.
pick your poison, so to speak.
People are comparing Becky to Hogan, like I don't work for me, brother. I don't want to lose
No.
clean to Liv Morgan. There's pictures of Becky with like the Hogan mustache and stuff. It's like, yeah, she don't want to lose clean to Liv Morgan. So it's like, okay, let's come up with screwy finishes, that protects Becky from having to get beat clean.
But the thing is, I mean, yeah, that is Hogan-esque. So you're not far off there, Angel. I mean, I could see. I mean, Hogan refused to do jobs for a bunch of guys, Curt included.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's very, very, very Hoganish, because it's like, oh, it's just why I was like, why would they do her that favor if she's expiring and possibly going to AEW, which is unlikely, but technically she could go because her contract's up. So,
well, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think she will, but if she does, I'm
Becky,
like,
please don't. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart. Don't do it.
yeah. So that's that. Eventually, Rhea Ripley will come back and she'll kill Liv Morgan and get her title back. But for now, that belt had to be transferred over to Liv Morgan to tell that story.
Yeah.
So when what's her face returned, Rhea Ripley. All right, the next match was Sami Zayn defeating Chad Gable and Bronson Reed for their Intercontinental title. So Sammy retained. This match was okay. It wasn't.
So it was a three?
It's a three-way.
Triple threat match?
A triple threat, yeah.
Oh, come on.
I don't like triple threats either, unless they're very rare exceptions. But usually triple threats are just clusterfucks. And it's like,
yeah, really. I mean, it's like lazy booking.
It should have been Sammy. It should have been Sammy against Chad Gable. I don't know if throwing Bronson Reed there makes much sense.
I don't even know who that dude is. I know who Chad Gable is, but
yeah, he's the big fat Australian dude.
That's how I would put it. Yes.
yeah, that's what he. This is the nickname Vince came up with before he left. Big Bronson Reed. I'm like, yes, I know he's big, Vince. I mean, you could see it. Like, why in the world do you give him that nickname, Big? Like, come on, man. That was a Vince thing before he left. It's like,
you might as well just call him Fluffy. I'm Fluffy.
Before Vince retired, he had Bronson Reed. It was like, let's call him Big, pal. I was like, oh, come on. Yeah, I can tell he's big. You don't need to call him Big.
If you want to say big like he was like a muscle builder, that's one thing.
No, but he's like, he's not. He doesn't have much muscle. He's more like just thick and fat. He's
fluffy.
He's good in the ring. He doesn't suck, but but he's not like a big muscled up freak. They call him Big. Like.
Well, no, he would probably be like a Yokozuna kind of character.
Yeah,
but even Yokozuna had limits.
Yeah, he could pass for Yokozuna, and his finish I think, is a top rope splash, but. Yeah, anyways, the match ended with Chad Gable being accidentally clotheslined by his number one guy, Otis. And then that's when Sammy pinned Bronson Reed, I remember correctly.
And retained, right?
Yeah. Chad Gable was outside the ring when that happened. And, they're doing the story where Chad Gable's heel and he's, trying to whip the Alpha Academy back into shape and he's insisting that Otis cheats for him, but he doesn't want to, so they're telling that whole story. And eventually the Alpha Academy will turn on him and beat him up. So, yeah, that's the story they're telling with Chad Gable. But I don't know whether they're going to elongate the story by putting the Intercontinental on Chad Gable. Maybe they will, but I'm not really looking forward to that if they do. Because
I was going to say, are they that insecure with Sami Zayn? Has he not, I guess, proven himself to be champion, or maybe they're going to pass the belt around?
Sammy's always been more of a transitional champion guy. I mean, especially with it depends who the booker is. Vince was kind of like, yeah, but Sammy doesn't really have long title runs usually, so it's like they're gonna transition the belt to somebody else. But it probably will be Chad Gable at some point, but I don't know when they're gonna make that switch. We'll see. The next match on the card was the Queen of the Ring final, Nia Jax defeating Lyra Valkyria by pinfall. This match was it was fine, but it wasn't, I wasn't that impressed with this match. It's a pretty cool finish though. Lyra Valkyria trying to do a power bomb from the top rope on Nia Jax, and instead she hit her bonsai drop finish and just beat Lyra. So it was kind of a cool spot there. But other than that, that match is very forgettable.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if that's the final, then she was the queen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I saw the clip of her putting the thing on, and then just she's a heel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just being what they call a bitch in the ring, but I
Yeah.
mean, if you're a heel, you have to act like that. So
Yeah, she bent the knee for Triple H and put the crown on her head. And then she celebrated for a bit, and that was the end of that. So it was like, it's fine. They got to give her something. She's Rocky's cousin, so it's like, got to make Rocky happy. He's in the board of directors, so
I
it's like,
don't like The Rock,
no, I
and
know
this
that,
is
but
why.
it's like Ava, his daughter Ava is the general manager of NXT, even though William Regal's there and he's the obvious choice. But it's like, got to make Rocky happy, put his daughter in on television somehow. So.
She can't even wrestle, and she would be fourth generation if she could. But
No, they gave up on her. They obviously gave up on her as a wrestler because she was in training for like 3 or 4 years. She debuted, had 2 matches. She's like one of the
really,
worst wrestlers I've ever seen, and then they
wow.
made her the GM instead of firing her because she's
Hmm.
Rocky's daughter. So like. She's not even that good on the mic. It's like she has really no redeeming qualities as a wrestling personality. I mean, it's like bleh, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not that impressed with her.
Maybe that's not her calling. Some second, third, fourth generations just they know their calling, and that's not it. So even The Rock
Well,
at one point did not want to be a wrestler. He wanted to be a football player.
yeah, the only reason why I became a wrestler because he tore his ACL and couldn't do football anymore.
That's right.
So he kind of had no choice but to get into the family business,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked out for him massively. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, look at Randy Orton. He's also third generation.
Randy didn't want to be a wrestler either. If I remember
No,
correct, his story.
I'm pretty sure he was in the Marines, but
Yes,
he left.
he went AWOL and spent like 60 days or 90 days in military prison for going AWOL.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
released him, and of course he went to OVW where Jim Cornette got a hold of him
And made
turned
him
him into what he
something.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jim Cornette had him, John Cena, Batista. Those 3 guys became top guys in WWE. But
yeah, but not Batista. Batista was.
Batista, he became a top guy, but it wasn't
He
like
became a top guy, but I just didn't. I wasn't much for Batista.
No, I mean,
he didn't impress me much.
He wrote in his book that he didn't learn much from Jim Cornette. He bashed Jim Cornette basically. He's like, I didn't learn much from him. And Cornette was like, "Well, I mean, we tried to teach you, but you sucked." So it was like,
yeah, you didn't want to learn. Yeah. They were talking about the John Cena Batista rivalry. Rivalry. Sorry, I can't say it right.
Rivalry.
But, yeah. And basically, yeah, Jim says, we tried to teach him stuff in OAW.
OVW.
OVW, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And I can't talk today. My lips, but no, like, yeah, he agreed that they tried to teach him something, but I mean, he just didn't want to learn. He just wanted to do his own thing. Okay, fine, then you don't need to be here, but we tried to make you something, and you went off and became a top guy, even though he didn't want him to be a top guy. John Cena, he wanted John Cena to be a top guy because Cena had the talent, but he had to pay his dues and walk the line, so to speak. Whereas Batista just got in like that.
Cena got in, Batista got in. His initial gimmick in the main roster was he was I'm not sure you remember Reverend Devon Dudley Boys. They tried to make him into a single star. Yeah. But they turned him into Reverend Devon, and Batista was like his security guard. Yeah, that was his initial gimmick. And then eventually he became friends with Triple H, and all of a sudden then he was a top guy. Like,
right.
They're ready to fire him until he became friends with Triple H.
Yeah. It's not who you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, who you become buddies with in WWE.
Yeah,
and then it's like, and Triple H like, oh yeah, I'll make him into a big star. And he did. I mean, his matches with Triple H were good. They were good to great. And then once Triple H went away and he became champion, Vince thought he would be the top guy, not Cena. Cena was more like the secondary champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like he started having matches with Booker T and other guys like that. It's like, damn, this guy sucks.
I mean, you could really tell.
It was like Triple H did the whole Ric Flair thing with him. Like he would have great matches, like Sting. Him and Sting had great matches, but as soon as Sting started working with other guys, his matches were terrible
Mm-hmm.
because Flair wouldn't teach him. Flair's like, you could do this move, do this, but he didn't teach him how to do it. So it was like he always needed Flair, and that's why Flair always had a job.
Yeah, and that's why Flair was a DICK head. To when he was a booker, I mean, people hated working with him. I mean, they literally hated it because Flair was not a good booker. If it didn't happen for Flair, it didn't happen. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, Dusty was the same way." No, Dusty actually
Dusty got other guys over.
Yeah, he got other guys over. Flair, if it didn't benefit Flair, it didn't happen.
Unfortunately, don't tell that Jim Cornette because he kind of loves Flair, so it's like
I don't know if he loves him anymore. I mean, he did call him like a drunken a-hole, I think.
Oh,
when they were talking about the whole, he
was
3 sheets to the wind at the pizza place.
Yeah, we talked about that in the show a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Cornette was making fun of him. So,
but at the time in the early '90s, when he put Cornette in the booking
everyone
committee,
loved Flair in the '90s.
Yeah, when he put him in the booking committee, it's like, he swore by Ric Flair. It's like,
well, there's
he
some
loved Dusty too. He loved Dusty too. Dusty put him over.
No doubt about that. It's just like there's some people, including one of his best friends, said, "Yeah, I would not make Ric Flair the booker because if it didn't benefit Ric Flair, it didn't happen."
And that's basically what that's basically what Bret Hart did. Bret Hart said something similar. Yeah, he dropped the WWF title to Bret, but the matches were shit because Rick wanted to win, and he couldn't win. So
he would sabotage the match.
He would sabotage the finishes.
Yeah.
And then him and Bret and Vince had meetings, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm getting a divorce. Things are tough. I'm sorry. I'll do better. And he still would sabotage the matches after even these meetings. So it's like, then when he left, Vince was like, well, that's the way he works. If it doesn't benefit Ric Flair, he won't do a good job. Because he's not going to put anybody over.
Right, and that's selfishness. And unfortunately, that's just how the world goes round.
Thank you, CBC. Happy Saturday, too. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm just wanting to acknowledge it.
Oh, that's okay. But yeah, so for example, Jim Cornette pretty much didn't like anything that went. And he, for example, what you were saying, I might say just King of the Ring. I mean, excuse me. Jim Cornette said, "I'm sorry. I don't care if I get feedback or if I trend because of this, but it's King of the Ring. Okay. Stop with the stupid, we have to do this equality thing. I don't have a one way or the other. To me, it was King of the Ring because that's what it was back in '93 when they started it. Yeah. They don't need a Queen of the Ring. The Queen of the Ring could be if they're if they're managing the person who becomes king. But
it was like Randy Savage with Sherry, King and Queen, like Queen Sherry and King Randy, and so it was like,
and then we're like, wait, what?
But it's stupid. Yeah. I mean, to force it, WWE is owned by a corporation, and they're politically correct. So if there's a Queen of the Ring, there has to be a queen. Yeah, they have to be woke, or else then people melt down about it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Not necessarily people, but the media and sponsors will melt down about it. So they have to have it. So it's not really about the fans,
Right, and I'm all for equality, guys. Don't get me wrong. I think there's good times and bad times to have a Queen of the Ring. Honestly, I thought it was a person in drag. It's a Queen of the Ring. I'm like, wait, is that a woman or a guy in drag here? Which is
they had to give Nia Jax something, so that they gave her queen because then they probably won't make her women's champion. So it was like, okay, here,
No, but I mean,
take the
this is a step in the
crown.
right direction because
Yeah,
usually with the men, it was if you made King of the Ring like Brett did in the first uh time they did this, you were automatically propelled right to the WWF belt,
yeah,
which
which
is why he
he,
faced Yokozuna at SummerSlam.
yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think. SummerSlam '93 was Yokozuna against Lex Luger, though,
Yes, sir, it
right?
was.
And that was a disqualification finish, which was infamous to me because we ordered that pay per view that night as a kid, and I watched it. I'm like, the disqualification happened, and or a count out happened. Or, no, it was a count out, and I'm like, but Lex Luger's in the champion, and they're all celebrating like he won the title. They're all like idiots, the baby faces in the ring, like celebrating with Luger, but he's like, you're the champion. And then you see Cornette walking with the world title like this, and Yokozuna is like kind of trying to walk, but he's like exhausted, So I'm
Well, he
like,
was a big man,
yeah.
and
So
not in a good way.
Cornette had the world title in his hand walking back, and I'm like, no, he's not the champion. Why is the fireworks going off and confetti like he's the champion? It was ridiculous. Even as 7, 8 years old, it was like, what the hell's going on here? And that was done with Luger at that point. It was
You
stupid.
were 7.
Yeah,
Because
it
I
was
was 7
stupid.
too in '93.
Yeah, it was stupid. I was done with Luger at that point as the main event guy. I'm like, why are they
Yeah, and yet,
celebrating like
right, and McMahon tried to push that dude to the moon and trying to make him Hogan 2.0.
which it
No,
didn't work.
dude, he's not Hogan. If anything, you could have done something with Mr. Perfect. I honestly think that if Curt had won the King of the Ring, they could have pushed him to the moon as a babyface, and he would have been way better than Luger. Though I know
Yeah.
Curt didn't look like Luger. Let's make that very, I mean, he was very athletic, but I mean, he wasn't like a bodybuilder. He was more the athletic type. Okay, I
Vince was
get that, but
obsessed. Vince was obsessed with the bodies. He
yeah, I
hired
know.
Luger. He
I
hired
know.
Luger initially to be a part of the WBF, which was the World Bodybuilding Federation.
Bodybuilding, yeah.
Which was a disaster. But Vince
Yeah, it
tried
was.
against the bodybuilding.
So then he tried to make him a WWF superstar,
Yeah.
and Luger wasn't having it. He should have stayed the
Luger-
narcissist.
Yes, Luger
He would have
even
been better.
he admitted recently he was never comfortable as a babyface. So that's why Vince turned him babyface and kind of tried to say,
Really?
hey, look,
Sorry, I got that wrong.
here, be the top babyface. Hogan's gone, we need here. So be Hogan 2.0. And he was not comfortable in that
You
role.
could have had a great baby face because Curt knew how to be a baby face. He knew the business inside and out. Him and Bret Hart could have passed the belts around, and then, Bret could have gone heel and then Curt could have stayed a baby face, kind of like their baby face versus baby face match that we watched along to the other day.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the other week. And you would have had a better showing and a better collective, you would have poured in more money with Curt as a babyface. I don't know why he didn't give Curt the chance. I mean,
Vince
Curt
was out of
there.
touch still. He's out of touch still, and it was like 93-ish.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels would come around a couple of years later, and Shawn Michaels and Bret would have great matches. But if he would have thought of that a couple of years before, it definitely would have been Curt. Nobody else really there, but yeah, that athletic and could work with Bret like that.
Right.
But unfortunately,
and Curt and Bret had already had that chemistry and that history.
Oh, I can imagine now the amazing matches they would have for WWF title.
Unfortunately,
it didn't happen. It didn't happen because Vince was fixated on Luger turning.
Fixated on something that wasn't even going to work out in the first place. Because again, as Curt says in an interview that they did with him, there's nowhere to go but down with the body because you're all jacked up. You got nowhere else to go but down.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott Hall said something similar to, I forget who it was. It was a young guy who had great physique. It's like, don't make your body your gimmick, kid. You won't last.
That's right. That's right.
Because your body, that's the first thing disappears when you get older, your body.
And when Curt was 40, I mean, he looked incredible. If you've seen him in, I think it's FW or something, it was something with Brian Knobs, but he looks incredible. He looks like a bodybuilder.
He's impressive. Billy Gunn. I think I tweeted about this on Wednesday during Dynamite. We'll get to AEW in a minute, but Billy Gunn. I mean, he
If
was
we must.
huge. He's 60 years old and he's like this, and it's like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he towers over the Bullet Club. He's who his team is feuding with. It's Light Switch, like let's call him Light Switch. Switchblade Jay White and his other two dudes. You know,
Light
Billy Gunn's
switch.
sons.
Turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I call it Light Switch. I'm like, Switchblade Jay White and the
Is
other
that
two
because he's
dudes.
only like 190 pounds?
Yeah, they're
Like you
they-
can tower over him, no
it-
offense.
it's Jay White and Billy Gunn's sons, his two sons, but he towers over even his own son. So it's like any. But yeah, that was ridiculous. I'm pretty sure if Curt were around, he would still power over these guys. So it's like,
He was 6'3",
yeah, and,
293 pounds when he stopped wrestling.
yeah, and these guys are none of them are 200 pounds. I'm nearly certain none of them are 200 pounds. Not Jay White. There's no way he's 200 pounds. There's no way. All right, so let's get to my favorite match. Gunther defeating Randy Orton to become King of the Ring. This match was one of my favorite match of the night because it felt like an old school wrestling match. And I'm not sure you saw this match, but if you
I
did,
saw
you would like
parts.
it. Because it felt like a struggle. You know, it wasn't like they were doing move for no reason. Everything had a reason. And the
Mhm.
reversals, it felt like a struggle. You know, like they were reversing suplexes. It's like, yeah, they were working together, but at the same time, it didn't feel like it felt like they were struggling and actually competing against each other, which is
Mhm.
rare for a wrestling match today because most matches feel like it just moves for no reason. You know, they're obviously working together. It's not as bad as WWE, not as bad as AEW, but a lot of WWE matches feel like that. It's like, yeah, they're working together, and I can tell. This
Well,
match, I
when
couldn't tell.
when Jim Cornette was talking about this, he was revealing it. He said, I mean, giving Randy Orton the King of the Ring really wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't do anything for Randy at this point. Randy's
No.
already a star. He's already over.
Yeah, that's why Gunther had to get something.
That's why he said,
Mhm.
I think it's Gunther because they need to up his ante a bit. They need to get him into that heavyweight spotlight, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Mhm.
And he had nothing but good things to say about Gunther. You know,
Gunther, I'm not sure if people said this, but Gunther could have survived in the territory days as an old school heel.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he could travel territory and be
because that
that.
German,
Yeah, that
you
foreign heel
know,
menace, that foreign heel
kind of like
menace.
the Ivan Koloff or
Yes. He could have survived in territory days. Yep.
Nikolai
And made a lot of
Volkov.
money for himself.
Mhm.
Nikolai Volkov, Iron Sheik type. Yeah, he definitely
Iron
could have
Sheik,
survived.
yeah, no.
That foreign heel, that people love to hate.
And so this is where, the good gets tough and the tough get going or something like that. Gunther, I seeing Gunther as a heel, I say he's going places. I agree with Jim
Yeah.
Cornette that he's going places, and that's probably why they took the belt off of him, even though we were kind of like, okay, well, we didn't really want to see Gunther lose the belt yet. But they still have, I think I have high hopes that they're going to elevate him.
Yeah, he's going to get that world title. Even though Damian Priest is Puerto Rican and I want to support him, but he's been a flop as champion. I mean, I'm not
Oh, come on,
really
give him
impressed.
a chance. Give him a chance.
Yeah, it's been 2 months after WrestleMania, but it's like,
Okay, well, if
I
it's been
mean,
2
it's like,
months.
yeah, I mean, he's fine, but it's like at the same, it's like I don't know whether the role is too much for him right now. I mean,
might
they
be.
gave him, yeah, so he might need more time to develop. But Gunther is that guy. I mean, if you put the world title on him, actually, Drew McIntyre probably. I don't know what they're gonna do because Clash of the Castles next month in McIntyre's home country is Scotland, so they already set up that match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre for the world title. Unless CM Punk comes back and costs McIntyre again, which will put more heat on that feud when CM Punk's able to wrestle again.
So in that case, I would say they probably want to finish that feud before they give McIntyre a chance to be champ. Though I could be completely wrong, but I think you should finish what you start with the whole CM Punk, and even CM Punk could get in there too. Maybe they put him at the front of the pack, so to speak.
Yeah, because I ideally I want to transition that belt to Gunther and give him a long run as world champion because I think he can pull it off, and eventually.
because Triple H was a heel and a really good one.
Yeah.
Because everyone loved to hate Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing he had going for him. The wrestling was you know. But I mean, there was that, where Triple H was like the blue blood snob. He'd come out and he would
Yeah.
curtsy and he would make everybody try to hate him. As what they call getting heat. So I could see Triple H kind of like, we want to build this guy up as a good heel and get him a lot of heat. And here's where we take over. And it's kind of like the Sergeant Slaughter thing, where Slaughter had all that heat in
Yeah.
91. I could almost see, for what's going on in Germany, I could almost see them kind of playing off of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because he is Gunther.
It was a controversial finish though when Randy Orton's shoulders clearly off the mat when Gunther pinned him. So the Triple H should acknowledge this after the show. And it's like, look, the decision is final. Gunther's king of the ring, but there'll be a rematch at some point down the road, and Randy Orton, will probably get his win back, and but Gunther still be king of the ring. So they accomplish two things at once. They protect Randy from getting beat by basically a younger guy, but at the same time, Gunther gets a king in the ring. It's a title shot ultimately.
Right. And like I said, I feel like this is the ultimate heel, just like Triple H is kind of building that up, kind of like Vince did at one point. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
did baby faces and Eric Bischoff did heels. Eric Bischoff really liked to build up heels and make the
Mm-hmm.
heels, the baby faces really work for that title shot. Like he didn't just make Sting the champion. He actually made Sting work for it. And even when Sting was going after it, I mean, he still wasn't ready. But I mean, it was that build up and that build up and that build up where Sting would come out with the crow stuff, even though I hated
Mm-hmm.
that. I hated that whole angle. I wasn't much for Sting.
Yeah, but it would have worked. Bischoff's plan would have worked. It wasn't for Hogan saying on the night of pay per view, doesn't work for me, brother.
Right.
So they had to change everything else. It would have worked fine. Because at that by Starrcade '97, it was okay. It's time to make the switch now. But
Yeah.
Hogan said it doesn't work for me, brother.
No,
And
because like Ric Flair, if it didn't work for Hogan, it didn't happen.
so they had to come up with this convoluted finish where Bret
Yeah.
Hart had to come out and basically restart the match for no reason, even though he's not a referee. And Hogan tapped out the Sting, and that's how Sting became champion. And that weird convoluted finish they botched
Right.
because of Hogan. So it was like that was stupid.
So, thoughts on the King of the Ring? Yay or nay?
It was good. I mean, it was fine. It ultimately accomplished what it needed to accomplish, get Gunther in the world title picture for SummerSlam. So it did what it's supposed to do. What's funny is Gunther won't wear that King of the Ring crown. If you saw him on Raw, he still was carrying it like this on his hand like this, and cutting
Yeah.
his promo. He won't put it on.
Almost like he was acting like Jerry Lawler.
Yeah,
You know
like
how Jerry
he's
Lawler would just carry the crown?
like he's above it. Like he doesn't have to wear the crown because he's already great. So it's like
You see what's going on here? He's
yeah,
turning into the Jerry Lawler character where when he would turn heel, he would actually, get all that heat. So it's all
yeah,
about the heat. So we'll
yeah.
keep our eyes on this.
At the pay per view, he wouldn't, and Triple H just handed it to him. He wouldn't put it on. He was like, he would do kind of like the
Yeah.
Lawler thing where he would just do this. Raw did the same thing. I'm like, and my mom was like, yeah, why doesn't he wear the crown? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of like this, So it's he thinks it. She thought it was weird,
Mm.
and I'm like, yeah, it's probably. I mean, there's a reason for it, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but yeah, I just when you said that, oh yeah, that's it, the Lawler thing where he just would
Mm-hmm. Where
carry it
he
like
would kind of
this.
carry the crown.
Yeah,
I think well, this is just my opinion, but I expect good things from Gunther.
yeah, I do
So
too.
I'm awfully interested in seeing what happens at SummerSlam. Now he's going to go against Damian Priest and not Cody Rhodes. Is that right?
Yeah, because he's on Raw, so he would
Okay.
go after the world title, which would either be Damian Priest or
Or
whoever's the champion.
whoever,
Yeah,
whoever they decide that they. Um, I expect good things from Gunther, just like Jim Cornette and Brian Last were saying. This guy they're going to push him to the moon, and let's see the rise of Sir
what's
Gunther.
funny? What's funny about Gunther? He's friends with the Bucks and the Elite, And I'm like, yeah, but he's
Oh, are
way
you
better than
serious
those.
on AEW?
Yeah, he's friend. He was friends with him at least. I don't know whether he speaks to him now, but because he would work their PWG shows 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh,
And
geez.
yeah, he was friends with them, and I'm not sure he's friends with him now, but he was friends with him then. But yeah,
Okay.
he was smart enough to go to WWE, so it's like he became a huge star. But I don't know if he speaks to him now, but he spoke 10 or
I was gonna say
15
he's
years ago.
above them. I
Yeah, he
mean,
is
he's
definitely.
actually good. They
Uh-huh.
stink.
Yeah, he was friends with the Bucks 10 or 15 years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, I hope I assume he doesn't. Their influence on him is none, so that's why it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know how friends they are now, but at 10 or 15 years ago they were buddies. So I
Well,
digress.
and let's see. Like I said, Gunther's on the right path. He's going up that ladder. Let's see. Let's watch. Let's continue to watch that journey
It's
and
like Cody.
see
Cody
what they
was
do
part
with
of the
him.
elite.
Yep.
Cody's part of the elite too, and look
Yep.
what he turned out. So
I
the
mean, he's
Bucks are.
champ.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bucks. They're nothing serious with them. They're always clownish, but they're goofballs. All
That's
right.
AEW in a nutshell.
Yeah. The main event was Cody Rhodes defeating Logan Paul for WWE Championship. This
I
match
mean,
was good,
yeah,
but
I don't think that they're going to take the belt off of Cody anytime soon. But Logan Paul also has been climbing that ladder of being that heel that gets a lot of heat, and that's
yes,
what you want in a heel. You can
yes,
definitely tell he's a heel. I haven't really been keeping an eye on this as much as I should have. I know, bad girl. But I definitely see good things happening for Logan Paul, even though he tried to go after the belt. I hope we get the AJ Styles then. I
yeah.
did see that, and I was like, "Oh, you."
What happened on SmackDown was
Ah,
AJ Styles. They teased retirement with him, and
yes,
Cody came out to the ring to celebrate him and his great career.
and then
They,
they.
they
I'm
yeah,
like,
AJ Styles then attacked him and basically leads to a title match.
I whoop you.
But yeah, this was kind of a ripoff of the Mark Henry segment from 10 years ago
Yeah,
when he teased retirement and Cena came out to celebrate him and he beat up Cena.
yeah,
But yeah, it worked now just like it worked then, because people thought, yeah, AJ at that age and he's really kind of retiring, So I thought it worked. Even a lot of people criticized it on online saying, oh, it was an obvious ripoff of the Mark Henry thing. But to me, I thought it worked because today's WWE fans don't remember that. That was 10 years ago.
yeah. That was 10 years ago,
And
and they're
majority of
lucky
the
if they remember
audience,
what happened last year.
yeah, majority of the audience now didn't watch WWE 10 years ago. So
Right.
that's why I thought it worked again, even though I knew it was a kind of rip off of that segment.
But they
But
did rip off in the 90s. I mean, the whole Austin being on that thing with the Undertaker, that was
yeah,
from CW when they crucified the Sandman, and everyone's
yeah,
standing there like, what? So I mean, they would actually kind of feed off of each other. So bringing that back, I mean, I think Triple H is brilliant, and I don't say this very often, but very brilliant in booking that
yeah,
segment or that angle.
yeah, because again, people were like, "Oh, well, that was a rip off from 10 years ago." If you didn't know that, then you're a
But it
fool.
got people back into the
Yeah, I'm
you didn't. Oh,
I'm
you
fine with
didn't.
it because like most of the audience, today's audience that wasn't watching 10 years ago.
Right.
So it was like, yeah, I mean, we're the hardcores, but it doesn't mean not majority of WWE fans are not hardcores. They're
Right.
casuals. Like right
Right.
now, a lot of the casuals love Cody Rhodes. So once Cody's gone, a lot of them will be gone too.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
eventually, the same thing happened with. I guarantee you, Braun Breaker would do big things. We can get the Braun Breaker, but he'll do some big things, and then he'll be the champion, and a lot of casuals will be watching him in the future. So he's a lot younger than Cody too, so he'll be around a lot longer.
Braun Breaker, isn't he?
He's Rick Steiner's son.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Scott Steiner's nephew. Yeah, Scott Steiner's nephew.
Yes. And he's a big dude.
He's 6'4". He's 6'4", 275.
But he looks
and
like a wrestler,
Yeah, he moves around like a cruiserweight. You've seen him run. It's like, holy shit, this guy's fast. Like he moves like a cruiserweight.
Second generations, they all know the second generations, third generations, they all knew what the heck they were doing. They grew up around the business. unless their dads tried to keep them away. And I wish nothing but the best for Braun Breaker because, I mean, his dad, look at his dad.
Yeah, his dad, Rick, even though Scott was the world champion and he was the star, Rick is still great as a tag team. And, so yeah, he was around the business, especially around his uncle Scott. Scott was like the big star and the world champion. But
oh, yeah. And
Big
Scott,
Papa,
doesn't he have kids too? But I don't think they're interested in the business.
I don't know, but I assume he has kids. I don't know. None of them are in wrestling, I don't think. I would have heard about it by now. So yeah, let's get to AEW Double or Nothing. I got plenty to say about.
I was trying not to, but okay.
Well, we have to talk about it.
I
It
know.
happened last Sunday.
They talked about it too. Jim Cornette talked. I saw 2 clips of it with the ostrich and the other one. Talking about beheading.
Ostrich and the other guy, Roderick Strong for the Continental title.
Yes, and Ostrich won, which is fine. Whatever.
Which
it was like the best thing. It was the best match on the card, and yet it still sucked, is what they said. Basically.
Yeah, because the whole beheading thing is that they did what's his face, Roderick Strong's lackeys did like the Doomsday Device.
Yes.
To the floor, as an interference spot. As an interference spot for no reason, just to interfere in the match. Nearly killed Ospreay.
Yes. And it was just I'm sitting there going, really?
Yeah, moron. All right, well, we'll get to that match for sure, but there were 2 pre-show matches and 12 matches in the main card. It's just ridiculous.
Oh my
gosh. It was 4.5 hours this pay-per-view. It's like, how does Tony Khan pay that much money for coverage? It's beyond me. It's 4.5 hours. It's crazy. Because you pay per hour on pay-per-view.
Do ya?
Yeah, so there's no way.
Well, that's what happens when you have unlimited money. But all right,
there's no way he's making that money back. There's no way he's making that money back on paper. Even if he gets 100,000 buys, there's no way making that money back.
Oh, I know, and it's $50 a pop.
Yeah. All right, so the first pre-show match saw Deonna Purrazzo defeating Thunder Rosa and whatever, and I didn't see any of these. So the Acclaimed, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Daddy Ass Billy Gunn. Defeating
really?
the Cage of Agony.
Daddy Ass.
Yeah, defeating the Cage of Agony, Brian Cage, and a couple of jabronis there by pinfall.
The only thing going for Billy Gunn at this point is his body.
Oh yeah, he looks fantastic for a 60-year-old man. It's like, I'm like, holy crap, Billy Gunn. He towers over the Bullet Club, who they're feuding with as well. So.
Sure.
All right, so the first match in the pay-per-view was Will Ospreay defeating Roderick Strong for that Intercontinental title or International title, whatever it's
Intercontinental.
Yeah.
No, I get it. So yeah, Jim Cornette said this match sucked, and Brian Last was like, "Yeah, but it was the best one on the card."
Yeah.
So that should tell you something. It was literally supposed to be a main event thing, but it wasn't a main event.
I don't know why. I don't know why Will Ospreay would want the international title, but he's the champion. I don't understand. I thought he would chase the world title, eventually at the All In pay-per-view in London, where he's from. But I guess they're gonna give him 2 belts. I'm really surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised that Tony Khan has this in store for him, though. No offense. Give over the booking. Give over the books, Tony Khan. You're done. You're finished.
Yeah. The next match on the card was the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn, defeating the Death Triangle, Penta Miedo, and Rey Fenix by pinfall.
I don't even know.
Yeah, this is Jay White and his crew, the tiny guys. And they defeated the Death Triangle, which consists of Penta Miedo, and Rey Fenix. So it's like, bleh, whatever. Timeless Tony Storm defeated Serena Deeb for the AEW Women's World Title in 15 minutes. That match shouldn't have gone more than 5. But
I was gonna say, you got 2 women wrestlers who can't wrestle going for 15 minutes, who were literally probably going to get injured anyway.
Yeah, Serena Deeb is called the professor. So apparently, she's like the wrestler. She's a pure wrestler. Her promos are awful, by the way. I mean, if you've seen her talk, it's like, yeah, just stick to wrestling. You're not even that good with that.
And you're not even good with that.
All right, so that's that. Tony Storm retained women's title, whatever. Orange Cassidy defeated Trent Beretta by pinfall. This is the breakup. This is the breakup angle of the Good Friends that nobody cares about. But
yeah,
they're pushing this angle because Tony Khan's favorite wrestler is Orange Cassidy, so he's always gonna get wins and stuff and protected.
As he says, usually Brian Last will be like, "I hate Orange Cassidy."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't even know who the dude is. I've heard his name, but I don't know who the dude is.
He's a tiny wrestler that kind of works like Roman Reigns, or at least tries to. But but he's
Roman
like
Reigns is like, really tall.
He's 6'4", 275 or 280. But Orange Cassidy kind of like a parody Roman Reigns because he never loses and he does Superman punch.
He's
a parody. Like he's a parody Roman Reigns, like Tony, like. Because he does Superman punch and he does a lot of Roman Reigns moveset. And it's like,
oh, come on, get your own, dude. Get your own.
He's a parody of a wrestler, too. He's like, he cosplays a wrestler. All right, let's get to this. Chris Jericho, the FTW champion, defeated Hook and Katashuri Shibata by pinfall to retain the FTW championship.
Retire, Jericho. Retire. We are tired of seeing you. You suck.
Yeah, he defeated Hook and this Shibata dude, a Japanese dude.
Anyone can do that. Chris Jericho, you are fat, you are ugly, you are old and saggy. We don't want to see your saggy ass. It's disgusting.
And he needed help too because Big Bill came out to help him win and beat Hook and Shibata.
Of course he did.
Yeah, so he needed help to defeat, these two jabronis. But yeah, even though Hook, I think Hook is he has a chance not to be jabroni if he goes WWE in NXT, but the other guy Shibata is definitely a jabroni. All right, so let's get to the next match: Jon Moxley defeating Konosuke Takeshita for the IWGP World Title.
Oh, it's take a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he could be something, but they're just burying him in AEW.
And Jon Moxley can't stop kissing men.
Yeah, he
while
just
being
got
married
beat
to a woman.
He got beat by Jon Moxley, for the New Japan World Title. Oops, for no reason. It wasn't even a world. I forgot. It wasn't even a world title match. It says eliminator match here.
Eliminator.
So basically, a number one contenders match, which he lost, so he doesn't get a title shot.
I mean, they have everything going for Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley sucks. It's a good thing WWE got rid of him.
Jericho's not as funny as 8 years ago. I mean, yeah,
he wasn't funny. He was ugly, and he could not wrestle. Hello, CVC voter.
Yeah, let's get to this next matchup. Adam Copeland, Edge, defeating Malachi Black for the TNT Championship.
Yeah, and didn't Gangrel come out?
Yeah, and this is the match where Edge botched the top rope elbow drop and broke his own leg.
Stupid. Yeah, you were showing me this. Yeah.
He broke his own leg, trying to jump off the top rope like Macho Man Randy Savage did off the cage. He botched the elbow drop and landed on his feet and broke his own leg.
I agree with Jim Cornette and Brian Last. They're like, sorry, no. We're tired of seeing Edge. We're tired of seeing Adam Copeland. You need to go away. And this is the greatest thing you could have ever happened to you is breaking your own leg. I'm sorry, not sorry, but we're sick of seeing you.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the like and the support, even though you're not into wrestling. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. Let's see. Oh yeah, I already have it. Okay. Well, we have Adam Copeland here explaining his leg injury, so.
Okay.
He's at home and on an old man rocker chair, so
stay there.
Hey everybody. Oh Lord. There's no filters that can help this thing. I look like that.
Yeah.
You look like a piece of shit.
Anyway.
You always have.
Double or Nothing. Flew back yesterday. Malachi Black dude's an animal. All of the House of Black, they're just really, really, really damn good. And as you're about to find out in this video, I guess the house always does win because I gained 2 new friends.
There he is. Uh-huh.
I don't really like them. They're kind of like those buddies that just annoy you, but they're always there. I don't know, maybe I'll name him a Brodium buddy or something.
Hey, you did it to yourself.
Anyway,
Yep.
yeah, I've been feeling really good lately. Been having so much fun in the ring, and I got cocky, I guess is what it really boils down to. And I'm probably a narcissist and egomaniac, and I'll unpack that one day.
That's why you need to leave.
My brain forgets what my body always seems to remember. A little late is that I'm 50.
Yeah.
And I need to make better choices.
Yeah.
So my body pulled the emergency brake on me the other night.
Because you're not a spring chicken
I ended
anymore.
up fracturing my tibia.
He fractured his tibia.
It's going to require surgery. Don't know the time frame on that yet.
Stupid.
Ruby's birthday's Friday, and I really want to enjoy that.
Is that a daughter?
And focus on
it has to be one of his daughters.
In my life, because there's way more that.
Stay home with your daughter.
And even this surgery. I know what I got to do. I'll find out the time frame kind of next week and everything. Sorry, don't really know what I'm going to say.
Sorry.
And I'm still half asleep. But so pardon the appearance and all that good stuff. Anyway, I will see you soon-ish. And in the meantime, everybody good. Try and be happy. All right, see you.
Adam broke his leg.
Please stay at home. Spend time with your daughter, okay?
And he's like,
stop trying to be a wrestler because you're not a wrestler anymore, dude. You never really were a wrestler beforehand.
He's like, well, yeah, I gotta, I'm not gonna have surgery until after my daughter's birthday. So I'll tell you then my timeline on returning.
How about you just stay away? Stay away. But it was nice to see Gangrel again, but not in AEW.
Yes, it was like apparently he tried to convince WWE let Gangrel come back, but they were like, that was 25 years ago. No one's gonna know who he is.
Yep.
Unless I'm about the hardcores, but there's not many hardcores watching WWE, so it's like
I just like seeing him in when he was with Luna in the corporate ministry. Well, then and Luna kind of left, and then he kind of just went to the corporate ministry, and he would always drink that pretend blood or something.
Yeah. This is
like,
imagine WWE having USA title or Fox title. Yeah, the TNT title is kind of stupid.
They do have a US title.
Yeah, but like a USA Network title.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Like they had the TBS title and the TNT title, yeah.
Yeah, they took all the titles from WCW, so I was like, wait, they do have a US title, unfortunately. Yeah. But again, that's because they bought out WCW. And I did not watch the Who Killed WCW because I didn't want them to say Curt Hennig.
Well, I mean,
he didn't.
I watched some of that. It was like it. I'm like, no. I mean, like they're trying to kind of push it as well. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're trying. They were teasing like, oh well, it's Hogan's fault. Is this fault? Is this Eric Bischoff? Some people blame him. And like, no.
I would say either Bischoff or Russo.
Well, I
definitely
don't think
Russo.
Yeah, I'm sure it deserves a little bit of blame, but ultimately it was the AOL Time Warner merger. Because none of them wanted WCW on their air.
No, they didn't.
Why it happened because Ted Turner was the boss and he allowed it. Once Ted Turner was out of the picture, they killed WCW instantly. I mean, it was like it didn't last. As soon as he was gone, WCW's gone. As soon as Turner left or was forced out. Right.
Well, they can't Yo Mama because, again, they have a TV title, I think. Doesn't WWE have a TV title?
No.
No, they don't. Okay. Well, then they could, but they'd still have to ask WWE if they could do that because WWE owns the rights to WCW, and that was a WCW belt.
Yeah, that's why they called it a TNT title. Somebody called it a vanity belt for Cody. Because Cody was the first TNT champion. So it was a vanity belt for Cody.
So, double or nothing. Are we saying good, bad, indifferent? What are we saying?
Well, I have 3 more matches to go through real quick. But,
okay. Go ahead.
There were plenty of there were a bunch more in WWE. All right, so the next match was Mercedes Moné defeating Willow Nightingale
Willis. What you want, Willis?
to become the TBS champion, which again, not surprising. I mean, as soon as Mercedes said, "Oh well, I'm going for the TBS title at Double or Nothing," like 2 months before, I'm like, she don't win that fucking belt, and it's gonna be meaningless.
I did see something about that, and then wasn't she holding hands with 2 other chicks or something?
I don't know about that.
Or she was with 2 other chicks. I'm just like, oh come on.
Oh yeah, their entrance, I guess, but it was an over the top, ridiculous entrance, like it was WrestleMania or something. It felt like one of those entrances.
I don't see her going anher.
Oh, she's already been a horrible flop in AEW. I mean, nobody really likes her. Her promos are awful. Her match for Willow was fine, but it wasn't like a lot. It wasn't
not like we're gonna go, oh my god, did you see that match?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was more like you get the belt on Mercedes, for no reason, and eventually she'll drop it to somebody else and go back. I'm not sure how long her contract with AEW is, but she'll go back to WWE at some point and be Sasha Banks.
I mean, you're not doing anything in AEW. All you're doing is collecting this because, again, your career is going to go.
Yeah, she's going to kill off whatever her career she has with this character. And then after the match, Chris Statlander turned on Willow Nightingale and turned heel. So
of course,
don't really care. But yeah, that they're setting up matches between those two. And the next match being the world title match, Swerve Strickland defeating Christian Cage,
which is what they needed to do. But Brian Last and Jim Cornette were like, I don't think they're still not giving him the respect he needs.
No,
let him be a champion. Give him people he needs to, be champion against. Like maybe Edge. Yeah, I mean Adam Copeland. Sorry.
Yeah.
But give him the people that need to challenge him, because right now he's just having shitty matches with shitty people who are so not over.
Defeating Christian Cage with Kill Switch, Nick Wayne, and Mother Wayne. By the way, Nick Wayne's mom is bigger than all of them because she wears those. She wears like 8 inches. She's 8-inch heels. She's bigger than all of them. I know,
that's what they were saying on Jim Cornette's podcast. They're like, I mean, she looked great. The rest of them look like shit.
Yeah, she makes them look like shit. I mean, with her ridiculous heels that she wears, and Swerve is not the main event of the pay-per-view. Instead, he's like the undercard right before the main event. Mm-hmm. He's the world champion. His title run
at him at this point. They might as well take the belt off of him.
It's a disaster. And
then disaster.
And on Dynamite, we find out that Will Ospreay is the number 1 contender for the world title the next.
Of course he is. Of course he is, because they need at least something with the competition. But again, like they said on Jim Cornette's show, they're not giving him any competition. The competition is these shitty matches with shitty people who are not over or were over 25 years ago, 30 years ago. It's a disgrace that these people literally. I mean, I can't even express to you how ridiculous this is.
It's absurd. And then I'm sure what's Swerve made. I thought Swerve was a baby face. Apparently now they're gonna stick him with Will Ospreay. Now he's a heel again. I don't understand what they're doing with this. I don't know if it's a baby face or a heel, but it's awful either way. So the main event.
I don't think they know. I don't think they know what they're going to do with Swerve. They just kind of said, "Oh, make Swerve the champion," and then they're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, they
had. Now what do we do?
Putting the belt on him, knowing that they're gonna do the big elite angle, taking over AEW, and he's gonna be a second thought or second fiddle, anyways.
Yeah, to the elites, and the fact that they took out Tony Khan. Well, yeah, what we do?
They knew they filmed that. They filmed that angle the next Wednesday after Swerve won the title. So
right.
So it wasn't like they didn't give Swerve a chance to celebrate it. They celebrated like 2 weeks later. I mean, it was like a little absurd. Obviously, they're not taking him seriously as champion.
No, and that's the sad part. Well, if you're not going to take him seriously, then just take the belt off of him.
Yeah, he's like on the undercard, and he's going to continue being on the undercard.
That's not what you do with your champion. You always put your champion in the main event. Even Vince knew that.
Yeah. So the main event is the Anarchy and Narita match between the Elite, the Jackson boys, Okada and Jungle Jackoff, Jack Perry, defeating Team AEW. Bryan Danielson, who has a bad back and can't feel his arms. Darby Allin got run over by a bus. And
Bus
FTR.
boy.
And FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax. He defeated them by pinfall. In one of the most absurd matches I've ever, I've watched some clips. It was like, what is this garbage? It's literally a garbage match.
Completely garbage. It was
a garbage match. And then the Elite, the Jackson boys, kept telling the production guys what to do and how to film certain parts of the match. And they're goofballs. I mean, even if they try to be serious, but they're goofballs. How you take those guys seriously? I don't. And then Tony Khan is there. He's there, and he's allowing these Elite guys do whatever they want, even though he's the boss.
That would be like Vince going, okay, Austin, go ahead and do whatever you want. No, there was a conflict there. There was, back and forth. They always tried to one-up each other.
Tony was sitting in gorilla position the entire time while the Elites are ordering the camera crew to film certain things certain ways and playing music while they were fighting and beginning the match for no reason. And then Danielson also said, play my music instead while we're fighting. And they did. The production guys did. I'm like, where's Tony Khan? He turned out he's backstage. He's there. Why is he not telling, no, film it the way we the thing with AEW is they don't have production meetings because they're afraid to have stuff leak. To this day, Tony Khan's never had a production meeting.
Then we can't take you seriously, Tony Khan. You're not a serious person. Because your shit looks like shit. This is just literally laziness. Again, you're trying to do an angle between the boss and the employees, and it's not working out so well. If you're trying to do the Austin versus McMahon thing, then do it right. You can't have, the boss just lets me do whatever I want. No, that's not real life. That's not real life. The real life would be Austin versus McMahon, which we've already seen that. But they could have a version of, that. They could have where Tony Khan is trying to keep them down and they're trying to one-up him and do what they did. Now, I'm not saying, drive a Zamboni into the arena like Austin did. But because it fit with Austin. Austin was the right character for it. Find your own character for it and then have that kind of feud, but you can't just let them run amok and let them do whatever they want. That's not reality. And that's just a clown show.
Yeah, it was just awful. The whole match, and then you had at one point they had like 4 blocks of cameras filming because everybody were fighting in different parts of the arena.
Of course, easy booking.
Then at one point, towards the end of the match, I think Jack Perry, he saw Tony Khan and grabbed him and threw him down the stage and tried to attack him. Until the other dude, Darby Allin, came out and with a flamethrower and set Jungle Jackoff on fire.
Right, with the flamethrower, right?
Yeah, he set him on fire.
Like, shh.
Yeah, because
Jim Cornette was like, "Yeah, let's bring a flamethrower into this because that's a great idea."
And what's worse
what could
is
possibly go wrong, as Kit says.
Jungle Jackoff was on fire. He's gone, but he comes back and gets the fall on. I think he beat Danielson. He pinned Danielson after being set on fire.
Right.
Earlier in the match.
For the people in the back, again, what could possibly go wrong? Right? Just like Kit Cabello says.
So they're burying Danielson by getting beat by a guy who was set on fire earlier in the match. And Danielson lets it happen. Like, okay, yeah, I mean, you can beat me. I mean, like, you were a former world champion, a main eventer at WrestleMania, and you're letting Jungle Jackoff just pin you for no reason on the pay-per-view in a main event.
I mean, it was... I saw the clip with the flamethrower, and I kept going, "You idiots!" I mean, because what could possibly go wrong? Set the and Jim Cornette said this too. They said, first of all, it was going out into the crowd. You're talking major lawsuits here. That's why he's like, "You idiots! You freaking idiots!" Only he didn't say freaking. He said the real word.
Yeah, they're reckless. Tony, earlier in that show, the Jericho match, I think it was, Big Bill went through a table, and the the table legs went up, like straight up, like nearly impaled Big Bill. Like it was 6 inches away from his head. He could have killed him.
Oh my gosh.
It's not the first time this has happened where somebody in AEW nearly died because they fucked up
Yeah,
a
but one of
spot.
these days they are.
Yeah.
One of these days they are, and then guess what? We're gonna watch it live on TV, and then people are gonna need therapy for the rest of their freaking lives.
Yeah, and AEW is
That's
gonna
not
be
what
done.
we want to see, Tony Khan. I don't want to see a wrestler die in the middle of the ring.
Julia Hart, I think, nearly got impaled off it during because she went through a table, but she jumped back way too far back, and there's these spikes that hold in the steel girders, from the crowd. She nearly
Right.
got impaled from in the back of her head too, nearly going back because
Oh.
she wasn't properly trained how to go through a table, so she just jumped back and missed the table nearly completely and nearly impaled her head on the
Was that
steel
one?
girder though.
Yeah, when in WWE they had a guy who they actually have steel like pikes, steel spikes, and when they pull it down the ring, the guy almost got impaled in the back, and he pulled back at the right minute. I'm like,
That was Seth Rollins. He's trying to get
yeah.
into a steel cage. They were lowering the cage,
Well,
and
wait.
he was trying
They
to get
don't
in the
build the cage
ring,
around
but
like they used to anymore. Now
yeah,
they have steel spikes on that
and they
cage.
gonna punch straight down.
Yeah,
And he was trying to
wait.
get in, but the last second he kind of did that, and and then the spikes went down, and
I'm sure he could feel the spike on his back.
yeah, he avoided disaster there. So that was Seth Rollins. Like this is like 6-7 years ago when he did that.
I know, but still, I mean, we're getting to the point where literally we're going to watch one of the wrestlers either impale themselves or they're literally going to delete themselves by accident.
Yeah,
Because something stupid like bring flamethrowers to the freaking ring. Again, they were talking about there's going to be major lawsuits if anyone in the crowd got set on fire or got burned. You're talking
yeah,
major lawsuits now.
yeah,
Because
and
you don't think, Tony Khan, you just do it.
it's ridiculous. I'm like, okay, so in order to beat Jungle Jack off Perry, you have to set him on fire. Even then, he comes back and gets the pin on Danielson, a former world champion, a former main eventer at WrestleMania.
Right.
So how are you gonna beat Jungle Jack off then? Are you gonna hit your finish and then pin him, or on
I don't know
Dynamite
if they even thought that far.
yeah, but on Dynamite they tried to hand him a TNT championship because Edge was hurt. And so the Bucks tried to hand him the belt until Christopher Daniels came out, looking like Adam Pierce.
Yeah.
He looks just like Adam Pierce. So they're ripping off Adam Pierce from Raw, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm the I'm the interim executive vice president,
That's
and
true.
we're gonna have a tournament to crown the new TNT champion." I'm like, "Of course, Tony Khan loves tournaments."
Yeah, didn't he has the Owen Hart tournament, which
Oh
is a
yeah,
big slap in the face to Owen Hart.
I forgot about that.
I saw something about it on X.
So,
Yeah. Because Martha was there. Right.
Yeah, Martha Hart came out with Tony Khan and did one of the most cringiest segments I've ever seen.
It was so cringy. I saw that on X and I was just like, okay, I'm not watching this.
I'm like, Martha,
sorry.
I get it that you hate Vince McMahon because Owen Hart died because of Vince's ridiculous ideas with yeah. So I get you hate Vince, and I don't blame you for not letting Vince profit off Owen's death. Okay, fine.
Right.
He's gone. He's fucked off, and he's probably we'll get to that in a second, but he's probably going to charge federally with federal crimes, like his buddy Trump was charged. But I digress. And he's gone. TKO is taking over. Triple H is the booker.
Yeah. So I totally hear you. Triple H was the booker, and Vince is out of the picture, basically. So there is no Vince McMahon anymore, and all this ridiculousness is literally Tony Khan trying to compete with. He's still trying to. I feel like he's still trying to compete with Vince, and Vince is not even there. I wasn't even there. It was Owen, and Owen's not even there. So yeah, when he comes back, we'll ask him about that. But so yeah, that's pretty much I don't know what they're doing in AEW. It's crazy. It's crazy even to think about. Because I don't even know what to say about it. It's so ridiculous. And there's here he comes. What happened?
I don't know. My internet connection kind of went kaboots there, but yeah,
Okay.
am I back? Yeah, I guess so. I'm
You're
sorry.
back. It's okay. I was saying how like it's almost like Tony Khan's still trying to compete against Vince, and Vince is gone. Vince
Yeah,
has nothing to do with anything, and yet it's still shitty wrestling. It's still shitty stuff that we're watching, and every time they do something stupid like that, the crowd is going to be affected, and they're going to have a lot of lawsuits.
I was saying about the Martha Hart, Owen Hart thing. I'm not sure how much was heard before my internet went out, but yeah, I mean, we had Martha Hart still won't allow WWE to celebrate Owen's legacy. Like Vince is gone. I mean, I get you hate him, but he's gone. He's never
And
coming
Triple
back to
H didn't
WWE.
have anything to do with that.
No, so there's really no reason to try to stick at WWE by going out to the ring and doing these cringy segments with Tony
Yeah.
Khan. Oh, by the way, they also ripped off the King of the Ring thing where the winners of the tournaments will get title shots at All In London. So they kind of ripped off WWE there
Of
too
course
with
they
the
did. Because they don't know how to be themselves. They don't know how to be WCW. They don't know how to be AEW. They just have to, mimic and,
because the winners of that tournament in years past never got title shots in the next pay-per-view. So as soon as Triple H, Tony Khan insists, well, I talked about it with Martha in December. I'm like, you're the owner. She's allowing you to do this tournament using her husband's name. That you don't need her permission to do title shots. If you
that's
want to
true.
do it, you just do it. I mean,
Owen was King of the Ring once, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, which is why I'm like, yeah, just I don't know why she's allowing Tony Khan to sully Owen Hart's legacy with these ridiculous tournaments. I think it was last year. Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin had a garbage match, like in their Owen Hart tournament.
Really, Jeff
Like,
Hardy?
yeah, Jeff Hardy and Darby, they had a garbage match. This is the match where Darby Allin did a swanton and landed on a bunch of chairs.
King of Hearts. He
Uh,
I liked Owen. I just wasn't really into Owen. I was more into Mr. Perfect. But I do remember when they used to call Owen a nugget. And it
yeah.
was just something funny, like because he liked to rib everyone, so everyone tried to rib him
Uh-huh.
back.
Yeah, and his character, I'm not a nugget. It was at the
I
same
like the
time.
parody they did on him. I
Uh-huh.
forget the guy's name, but they did a parody on him. Like, what the hell? Why is my nose so big?
Yeah, then I'm sure Owen found it hilarious that people were
Oh yeah,
calling
he
him
was probably in
Nugget,
the back laughing it
but
up.
yeah, but at the same, his heel character on television was furious. Like, I'm not a nugget, But at the same time, I'm sure he
Why the
found it
hell do I
funny.
look
But
like a road sign? Woo! He would do that.
yeah, but I get Martha hating Vince because Vince is like I said, his cause is tragic death, or at
But
least
Owen was
allowed
second
Vince,
generation, and this shitty wrestling he would never approve of.
which is why that's why I'm saying it's sullying his legacy because
Yeah.
he's allowing Tony
And
Khan
he would
to
never have gone to AEW, even if it had come about in the 90s when Owen was still around.
no
He would have never
because
gone to AEW.
he would have been out of wrestling by then, along because he would they were like Owen once Owen's contract was up, he was going to retire because he wanted to be a firefighter, spend more
Yeah, he
time
wanted to
with
be a
family.
firefighter. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was going to be out of the business anyway. So there's no way that he would have gone to AEW if he were alive today, which he probably should be. But
He definitely should be. I
yeah,
know I when I saw that Raw after he passed, man, I was crying like a baby.
yeah,
And
and
like I said, I wasn't really much for Owen. He was, Brett's little brother, but I mean, it still hit home.
there was this video of Owen pinning Brett for the WWF Championship, It never made air. It was one of those things where just they had the heels interfere, and Owen pinned Brett, became WWF champion, and all the heels and Owen had the belt. I'm like,
kind of like when Curt 3P'd. I don't know
yeah,
if anyone saw this, but apparently Curt 3P'd before he got the squat, or he got counted out. SummerSlam, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna 3P the Intercontinental Championship belt," and he did at a house show, so no one got to see it.
yeah. It was on a taping. It was like a Coliseum video exclusive, but it never made air. It's one of those things for those fans there. But they did record it, and it did come out on tape because
I'm guessing they had already determined that he was not going to 3P at SummerSlam.
yeah.
So for the TV, they weren't going to let him 3P, but he had already done so on a house show. But I just want to bring up real quickly, if I could,
Yeah.
I actually saw something, because I never really knew Curt's opinion of the whole Montreal screw job. And on X, I had someone looked it up, and they said, here, let me look. I'll tell you exactly what he said, because it was hilarious. I'm like laughing. So the person asked, "What is your opinion on the Survivor Series double cross? How would you have reacted in a similar spot?" And this is Curt, his response: "I can't tell you how I'd react. I probably wouldn't have let anyone get me in that situation, especially against Shawn Michaels, because he's a pussy."
Yeah, well,
I was like, he was
there.
on Brett's side, and that was my thing. I was like, well, Curt was on Brett's side. So was Rick Rude. Rick Rude was pissed. I mean, he was royally pissed at what they did to Bret Hart.
Yeah, that's why he left. Rick Rude left and went WCW right after that happened because he didn't have a contract. He didn't have a contract with Vince, so it was like he called Bischoff, and we told the story before. Like, yeah, I'm coming back next week. And WCW is like, okay, one of those things where because Bischoff was scared of Rick Rude from an incident that happened in his first run in WCW. So with the gun, the U.S. title, but
right, and of course they come out with the Jim Cornette stuff right as we're on the air. Like, oh, come on, guys, stop doing this to me. Well, next week, we'll definitely do it next week.
Well, I mean, that's Double or Nothing. I mean, it was a blasé show, or at the very least, it wasn't that good. It was more like bleh. But yeah, I mean
Here's the
that.
Moxley and to take a shit.
Oh yeah, he talked about that.
Jericho and Hook.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! This shit always comes out when I'm like either on the show with you. Here's something with excuse me. Following his win, Roderick Strong confronted Tony Khan and demanded a shot at the AEW champion. And Tony Khan's looking at him like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, I didn't see that part. If that happened in the pay-per-view, so
this is probably the after show, and the great, ding. Every time he says great on Jim Cornette, they all go ding,
yeah,
ding, ding.
So Tony Khan expects you to sit through like an hour pre-show, 4.5 hour main show, and then like an hour or two in the press
interview
conference
afterwards. Yeah, press conference.
So
yeah,
it's like 6-7 hours worth of AEW, and like who's gonna do that? Even if you're
like I'm rewatching the Survivor Series 1988. Even that was like 2.5 hours.
It wasn't even 3.
Yeah.
And Tony's doing a 4.5 hour pay-per-view, like the main card. Like that's supposed to.
Who is supposed to watch all that stuff, like literally, and keep paying attention to everything, every little thing that happens?
Yeah, I mean, who would? I wouldn't. I mean,
I don't have 4 hours to dedicate to that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the King of the Ring show was like almost a little bit after, like either a little bit less, a little bit more than 3 hours.
Right.
And that was 5 matches, so it wasn't like it was 12 matches, stuff I don't really care about for the most part. It's like Tony's trying to put everybody on the card and put as many matches he can fit. And he can't fit them all, then he'll just ask for more time and pay more money for more time on pay-per-view. That's why, because you pay per hour on pay-per-view, and it's very
Yeah, you were
expensive.
saying that. And I can't believe, well, again, a limited money, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
It's not a business. It's like a hobby to, Tony Khan. So that's why
Yeah, well,
he's
unfortunately,
able.
it's getting old.
Yeah, he
So I have
can't.
4 hours to waste of my life. And that's
Yeah,
why I won't watch it.
he cannot turn a profit on that. I mean, I don't know how he, and I don't know how people expect him to turn a profit, even with the TV rights deals coming up, and they still haven't renewed with Warner Brothers. So it's like, okay, then I don't understand how. Let's say if you go, what are you going to do? Go to YouTube and just put Dynamite on YouTube? I mean, who's going to watch it? I'm sure you'll get some people to watch it there. It's free, but you'd rather be on cable so you can have the ads, make the ad money.
Right.
But again, he has you have to, he has to have a television deal for AEW for Dynamite. Because what are you gonna do? Put Collision, put Rampage, and the other one, Dynamite, on the internet, just on YouTube.
See, I don't know. They lost that what was it, a YouTube contract or something? I think
Yeah,
Jim
for
Cornette
Dark,
talked about this. They
for
actually
Dark.
lost all that. So unless they're going to
Mm,
start their own channel like you and I have,
yeah, they already have a channel, like the AEW channel. So that's where they used to upload stuff there, and they upload clips of their shows there. So unless they're gonna start airing their shows, is there.
right?
But they need somebody. No, CW. They offered money for Ring of Honor. They wanted Ring of Honor before they got NXT, and Tony was like, "No, I want to sell AEW as one big package to Warner Brothers Discovery."
Right.
I'm like, dude, diversify your revenue. A standard business practice. That's why WWE has three television deals now. They
Mm-hmm.
have Raw, they have Netflix, they have CW NXT, and they have USA for SmackDown. They have three different revenue sources, and he wants one through Warner Brothers Discovery, and there's no guarantee them giving one because they just lost the NBA, and I don't know how they're going to spend the money to all of a sudden they have money. They don't have money for NBA, but they have money for AEW, and I'm
Yeah.
not buying that. So it's just
I'm right there with you. I'm right there
it's
with
just absurd. I just don't understand what. It's not a business. It's just. But in order for people to care, they need to be on TBS or TNT. If they're going to end up on some secondary channel on YouTube, it'll be kind of like TNA. It's there, but nobody watches it and nobody bothers reviewing it. So it's like,
right. And why
it's just
would they?
there.
Because it's
Yeah.
just shit.
Yeah, it's just there. It's kind of like a husk. WWE's working with TNA, kind of bringing in some of their talent to NXT.
Right.
But I don't know how that benefits WWE much, except for maybe using some NXT talent on TNA television to get them more experience. But other than that, I don't see how it benefits WWE much to work with them.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of. Just put them on TNA television to get them more experience from the audiences. Even though if you see TNA's audiences, they're kind of miserable. They're just sitting there kind of like, I don't know why they go to these shows if they're that miserable.
Well, are we ready for the coup de grace? To going to talk about Raw and the whole AJ Styles
Yeah,
knockoff.
that was on SmackDown.
Oh, was it on
And
SmackDown? I'm sorry.
yeah, because he beat up Cody on SmackDown
My bad.
after doing the fake retirement thing where he's crying and stuff, and Cody's celebrating him, kind
Right.
of like what happened with Mark Henry 10 years ago. But like
Mhm.
what we talked about, I mean, I don't see it as a big deal because a lot of WWE fans now were not watching 10 years ago. There's like the casuals, so they're not. I'm not that concerned about them ripping off an angle from 10 years ago, which I'm sure will lead to a match between Cody and AJ at the Clash of the Castle.
Right,
So
and this would be round 2. So,
yeah,
it looks like they're going to do a little bit of a storyline between the two. And hey, let's give some props to AJ Styles, still hanging in there, still looking good, still looks like a
mm-hmm.
wrestler. I have nothing but nice things to say about AJ Styles. He's really bringing on the heel. Now that he's
Yeah.
turned heel, he's really bringing it on.
Yeah.
I expect good things from here, and this is going to be a good feud. I think. I hope they make it a feud. Keep
Yeah,
it at that feud level.
They had a match at Backlash France, which was good. And now they're gonna have another match, I guess, at Clash at the Castle, and I think they're just delaying until The Rock returns to television in order to do that
Please,
match.
anything to delay that.
Yeah, they're delaying until The Rock's able to return, but yeah, that's what.
Can I riddle you this?
Yeah.
Ask you a question, basically.
Yeah.
How about Roman Reigns versus The Rock?
That
Do you
needs
see
to
it
happen at some
happening?
point. That has to
Yeah.
happen at some point because
You
that's
think
the whole
so?
reason. Yeah, that's the whole reason why Rocky came back to work with Roman. Until
Okay.
that whole Cody Crybaby thing online, it was a disaster, and they kind of pivoted to what they did at WrestleMania, which was better, honestly. But that match has to happen at some point, either next year's WrestleMania or SummerSlam or something. I'm
Now
sure
he's
Roman.
a cousin of The Rock. Is that right?
Yeah,
Roman
Roman's a
Reigns?
cousin. Yeah, they're cousins. They're so. Yeah, that's why Rocky came back to do that main event match at Mania.
Okay.
And allegedly, according to Brian Gewirtz, Rocky's supposed to win the title. He's supposed to end Roman Reigns' 3.5-year reign. Both Roman and Paul Heyman were against it massively. It's like they were politicking to make sure that didn't happen. Luckily, the plans never happened, so it ended up being Cody, and Roman gladly dropped it to Cody instead. But it's supposed to be Rocky initially. Brian
No.
Gewirtz
I'm sorry. You finished the story. It's fine how it went. You finish the story. You give Cody the end of the story, or Dusty, and wherever you are, Dusty, we love you.
Yeah, I mean it's Roman Reigns and Paul Lee were against it. They were like
And
politicking like
kudos
crazy.
to them.
Yeah.
Kudos.
To make it to.
And I don't like
and
Roman
then,
Reigns.
And The Rock, and eventually they kind of changed plans because Brian Gewirtz also complaining that Cody, because initially the plan was Cody supposed to happily hand over his WrestleMania match to The Rock. Like,
right.
Oh, Rocky. Yeah, Rocky, you're so awesome, Rocky. Here, you can
I
have
bow
the match
down
instead
to
of
you,
me.
The Rock.
Yeah, that was supposed to be what. And Gewirtz was mad about it because Cody didn't do that. Instead, he had this sullen face, like,
right.
Yeah, I have to do this. I don't want to do this here, and then he walked away. Which at the time I was like, yeah, they
As Stone
treated
Cold
Cody.
Steve Austin does.
Yeah, they treated Cody like he was a jabroni, It was like
really,
and you could tell Cody wasn't happy with it. Which I mean, it was.
Would you be happy if you were in that situation? Would you be happy?
No, nobody would be. No. And Gewirtz was like, oh well, that was the plan. He should have happily handed the match over to Rocky, and that like Rocky was better than him, And
Rocky's not better than him. They're both second Rock is third generation, but Cody's second generation. Mm-hmm. Give the second generation guys their due. Yeah, Cody needed to finish his story. That's probably why that article came out. It was like, oh, they're going to go in a different direction with Cody. I went, finish the story.
Yeah, and they pivoted after the reaction from the Cody Crybabies, which Rock nailed on the internet. But, yeah, and I'm like, okay. And so they pivoted to what they were supposed to do anyway and did the tag team match, which I said from the beginning Rocky's going to win because Rocky ain't coming back to do a job.
Yeah, but I'm hoping he would.
Yeah, I hope when Rocky comes back, Cody gets his win back from WrestleMania because Rocky pinned Cody in order to, to do that Bloodline Rules match night 2. But Cody needs to get his win back and retain his title.
Right. Hey, Grape.
Thank you for joining us, Grape. Let's see. Your Mama's Fat plans. Have Drew and Priest at Clash. Cody, AJ, Money in the Bank. No point having 2 world titles on 2 PLEs a couple weeks from each other.
I agree. I would like to see that. The McIntyre Priest and then AJ Styles and Cody. Good suggestion. I would like to see that. Will they do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm figuring that they're gonna have both matches at the Clash because if Drew's had to go on last though because Scotland's his home country and no one's gonna top whatever Drew McIntyre does that night. So
that and again, are they gonna do that Punk angle Yo Mama, you think they're gonna bring in CM Punk in there, kind of finish that angle first, and then Drew can kind of go on to bigger and better things, I guess.
Gunther's also has a guaranteed title shot at SummerSlam.
Yes.
So they have to. If Drew wins, they can do Punk and McIntyre at Money in the Bank or afterwards. I don't know. But I would like to see Gunther win the world title. So maybe Punk costing McIntyre the title at Clash, and then at the SummerSlam, and then go to, because on my birthday, the 31st, is a pay-per-view. I'm Bash in Berlin in Germany.
Are we
So
celebrating? What are we celebrating with? Are we
I don't
supposed
know
to have
yet.
alcohol?
I don't know yet. It's a few months away, so we'll see how that turns out. But
Come on, you only turned 38 once.
yeah,
I
most
should know.
likely. But yeah, I mean, that was. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that, because of the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Gunther thing. There's at
Yeah,
least
there's a
4
lot of
guys.
people in this mix, but I would like to
Yeah.
see CM Punk and the Drew McIntyre thing kind of come to a close. You have to have closure there.
Yeah, unless Punk costs McIntyre the title again at Clash.
Again.
Yeah, so that'll
Or
lead to
maybe
their
he
match.
doesn't. Maybe he comes out and tries to, but it failed this time. Kind of
Maybe,
switch it up
but
a bit.
because I think there's enough heat on that angle. You don't need Punk costing McIntyre the belt one more time.
Right.
I mean, that might be overkill there.
Oh,
Because he
well, we
cost
already know
him.
what's going to happen.
He cost him the belt at Mania, and then he cost him again the next night on Raw when number one contenders match, which eventually Damian Priest won the world title. No, he beat Jey Uso to retain his first defense. But yeah, I mean, that might be overkill, having him lose again. The reason why I think he'll win, because what happened a couple of years ago at the first Clash when Roman Reigns beat Drew McIntyre in his home country, even though a lot of people thought McIntyre should have ended Roman Reigns' title run there. That's when Solo Sikoa debuted on the main roster.
Okay.
So, which is why I think Drew is going to get the belt at the very least there.
Well, it's a good prediction. We'll see what happens. And then you got Gunther in there. Is that an alcoholic drink?
No. This is in fact, this is the Prime drink.
Oh, I never heard of it. Is it good?
It's the Logan Paul Prime drink. It's in the ring.
Get it out.
Yeah, this is what Logan Paul has. You see the Prime logo on the ring, so yeah, so that's why. Yeah, my mother gave it to me. I'm like, okay. I mean, I drank it, but
I drink the body armor. I really like the blue raspberry body armor.
Yeah, yo mama. I mean, Drew, the Scotland crowd would be pissed if Drew doesn't win. It's the second time now that he'd be screwed.
It's kind of like Sami Zayn. What they did with Sami Zayn. Remember, they had him lose in front of his wife, but they didn't want to make him champ yet. They didn't even want to make him Intercontinental champ yet. So I get what you're saying, yo mama. I definitely, I'm right there with you.
At WrestleMania, when I saw, I thought Gunther should have retained, but when I saw Sammy with his wife and kid, I'm like, Sammy's going to get that belt, because no way they're going to embarrass him twice in front of his wife.
Right, embarrass him twice in front of his wife and his kid.
And to lose again.
Right, and that could be right there. Drew could be right there. And then you got Gunther in the mix there, and I don't know about Randy Orton though. He kind of seems like he's getting a little older in years, and
I think Gunther and Randy should have a rematch, with Randy winning a title shot and facing Cody at SummerSlam. I'm assuming
that wouldn't do anything for Orton's career, though. He's already over.
Yeah, he'll probably have to do a job to Cody at SummerSlam, which I'm sure he wouldn't mind. I mean, he loves Cody, but I'm assuming Rocky will be back by then, which is why I thought they'd do Rock and Cody at SummerSlam.
Or even Rock and is Roman still sitting at home? They could probably call him up. Hey, dude, you want to do a job with your cousin?
I'm assuming he'll be back by SummerSlam, because he got to set up that bloodline feud for Survivor Series eventually. So I still he'll be back by SummerSlam in order to begin setting up that angle. Let's see. Plus, if Drew doesn't win, that would kill all his momentum. Well,
I mean, it
yeah,
could, but I mean, they could find some other way to get him into the mix. But again, we're not in the head of Triple H. We're just kind of guesstimating.
Rock won't be done filming by the end of July.
Well,
SummerSlam
and
is in the
SummerSlam is in August.
first week of August, I think. So it's
Yeah.
possible he can make that.
Yeah.
Or most likely the Berlin show in Germany on the 31st. He'll definitely can make that. I mean, so yeah, so that match could happen there too. You could do Randy and Cody at SummerSlam,
But I don't
Randy-
see like Randy winning because again, he's already been champion a couple times, right?
I think 14 times.
Yeah, see, the Viper is getting up there in
Mhm.
age, and
Yeah,
I just don't. This would do pretty much nothing for his career. I just don't see him winning the belt.
the only it'll help if he drops to Cody. It'll help Cody, but
Yeah,
beating
I mean,
another
it would definitely
legend.
help Cody, but
Mhm.
right now we kind of want to see either Rock and Cody, or maybe a rematch with Reigns and Cody
I'm assuming Reigns is going to want a rematch at some point
at some
because
point. Yeah.
he's going to blame The Rock. I'm sure like, it was Rocky's fault why I lost.
And we could see that while Cody is
Yeah.
with Randy, maybe
Yeah.
have like a Reigns and Rock kind of
Uh-huh.
match there.
Yeah, because they have to get that match out of the way, and Rock ain't getting any younger. There's like
That's
50,
true.
so they got to get. That's why Rock came back to do that match at Roman, which everybody's been. That's the dream match that WWE fans want to see. The only one. Even though I don't like dream matches because usually they suck. Actually, in AEW, all Tony does is book dream matches, and they're not good.
Oh
so.
yeah, I know, and we don't want WWE to become AEW.
Yeah, so it's like dream. That's like the dream match everybody wants to see, and let's get it over with, and it's done. I'm thinking Cody and Rock at the Rumble. I mean, is Rock gonna be gone until the Rumble? I'm assuming he'll be back before then.
Yeah, I don't know if he will be back in July. Then I'm guessing, is he going to have a short stint with the WWE, or is he going to have a kind of a longer stint before he goes back into Hollywood? But no offense, his acting career is kind of at this point.
Yeah, it's
When it
because
came out that he also is like a dickhead, and when he's filming, he's perpetually late.
yeah, it's I don't know how people put up with him, but they do
This
because
is
they
in
think
bottles. I mean, ew.
yeah, that's
He's
that's
like
just
he
a
didn't
weird
catch something.
yeah, it's just a weird thing to do. But you have yeah, we're speculating here, but if Rocky comes back at the end of July, he'll probably could do a match at SummerSlam against Cody. Just get that match over with. Then you could do Roman Rock at Mania next year. It depends what their plans with Cody is when if he drops the belts anytime soon, or he's gonna have a longer run. Because a lot of people online claiming his momentum is dying off, and like I don't see it. I mean, he's still pretty over. He's like the modern day Cena. I don't see him. I just don't see him losing that belt.
Not till at least until they get someone. Maybe Gunther. Maybe Gunther at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I'm looking. I want to see Cody and Gunther at some point. Even though Gunther's on Raw, he's probably
The
going to win the
only
world
way I
title.
could see maybe him dropping the belt is they build Gunther up to that heel level.
Mm-hmm.
Make him that evil heel, and he's got a lot of heat. And then do what they did with the Sergeant Slaughter thing, kind of give it over to him.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because I want to see Gunther and Cody at some point. Gunther being your standard foreign menace heel, and Cody being the big American hero.
Right.
Going
right.
after protecting the country from Gunther. I mean,
Right.
Yep,
Just like what they did with Hogan.
Mhm.
There you have that ultimate heel and ultimate baby face, just like they had back in '91 when it was
Yeah.
Slaughter and Hogan. Let's just hope it's minus the death threats, though.
Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, everybody basically knows wrestling is a work at this point. I don't see any
Yeah.
death threats happening. But
I mean, they have that chance to build that back up again.
Yeah.
And get that momentum, and they could kick AEW's ass. Okay, they could literally take them down at that point because they're doing good wrestling. They're doing good storytelling, and that's what this is all about.
which is what wrestling is about. I mean,
Right.
it's very simple. Wrestling, they try to make it difficult, but it's really easy.
It's really easy, guys. This is 1, 2, 3 ABC stuff.
And wrestling, it's and they try to make it like complicated with all these moves that they do and the no selling. It's just awful.
Yeah, they no sell anything. There is no kayfabe anymore. Someone tried to say there was kayfabe. I'm like, there is no
No,
kayfabe.
no. I
Oh,
want
I
to
know.
see
It was
Cody.
Curt on Jimmy Dore show. He was saying about, oh, you have to keep kayfabe. I went, Curt, they don't keep kayfabe anymore. There's no such thing as kayfabe anymore.
I think they were talking about the Tony Khan neck brace thing very briefly. I think Curt may have brought it up because I don't think Jimmy's a wrestling fan, so I don't think he would know.
He
about
knows
that,
nothing about wrestling. I've tried to ask him.
but,
Trust me, I've tried, but I would
yeah,
love to get Curt on Curt Metzger. I would love to have him on here because he
yeah.
sounds like a wrestling fan, and we could just go back and forth. And I'm not sure who his favorite wrestler was, but
I would. He knows the wrestling parlance language, or you want to call it, because he talks about kayfabe and heels
talked
and
about
baby faces.
kayfabe,
So
baby
he knows.
faces and heels.
I'm assuming that he was a wrestling fan at some point. Maybe if he doesn't watch the new stuff today, he definitely watched the territory days.
Yeah,
So I would like to pick his brain on that, and at least what he watched and what he didn't watch. But
I
we'll
would love
see.
to too. If you're listening, Curt, we would love to have you on. Message us if you would.
Yeah, because it'd be nice. But yeah, we need to get because I would love to get Bret Hart and guys like that, older wrestlers on. Sergeant Slaughter follows me on Twitter, which is interesting.
I had John Cena on my old one, but I don't think he recognizes the new.
Yeah.
I had to tell people, no, it's me. It's really me. It's me.
John Cena doesn't follow me, but I know Sergeant Slaughter does because he followed me. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I should reach out to him about coming on because I would like to pick his brain on the Hogan thing because he claimed that he wasn't supposed to be champion.
Right,
It's supposed to
right.
be Warrior
He
Hogan.
said that in an interview, and I can't find the interview to save my butt.
I saw that. Yeah,
but we both saw it,
Yeah.
and I would love to pick his brain about that because that's so interesting that he wasn't supposed, but Warrior didn't kick out. So what? I mean, Vince told him you don't kick out. That's his fault.
Yeah.
But I mean, Randy really hit him in the head. He really knocked him out.
According to Slaughter, I mean, if nobody in the audience heard the story, I mean, it's supposed to be Hogan Warrior 2, a rematch from the year before WrestleMania for the title. Hogan was supposed to get his win back.
Yeah.
Instead, apparently Randy Savage hit him with the Spectre, which he did, but legitimately knocked him out. Legitimately knocked out Warrior, and Sergeant Slaughter was
a
like,
little too hard there, Randy. But that was payback for him breaking his arm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 1, 2, and the referee's like 3, and Sergeant like, oh, I'm the champion. He started celebrating, but he was supposed to be the champion. At least.
That was his thing, though. He's like, oh,
oh shit, I'm the world champ.
What do I do now?
That he's celebrating. He's thinking, damn, Vince is gonna yell at me, pissed. It's not my fault. I mean, blame Randy. He's the one who knocked him out.
Well,
or
and
blame
Warrior. Warrior was supposed to kick out and never did. So, I would also like to talk to Tommy Dreamer because he had that kind of a last match with. It was sort of
Curt.
a last match with Curt. Yeah, and he says nothing but great things about Curt Hennig. So I would like to see if maybe Curt ribbed him at all.
I'm sure he
Everybody knows Curt was a big ribber.
Yeah, sure
I would definitely like to have Bret Hart on because I would definitely love to ask him about the ribs that Curt put on him. But like I said, he was on Bret's side when it came to the Montreal Screwjob. So I mean, and he didn't nobody liked Shawn Michaels. Someone tried to tell me that he beat up Shawn Michaels. That Curt beat up Shawn Michaels. I went, I never even heard of that.
Yeah, the Curt.
And the guy's like,
Shawn
oh yeah,
Michaels.
yeah. He said, oh yeah,
No.
Curt was shooting off, or not Curt. Shawn was shooting off at the mouth about Curt, and Curt just grabbed him and started beating the shit out of him. I'm like, I didn't hear about that. He said, oh yeah, Curt talks about it all the time. I'm like, where?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do know that the Harris twins, Ron and Don Harris beat up Shawn Michaels right before they
Mhm.
left WWF.
Well, so did
Like
Rick
in,
Rude. Apparently, Rick Rude beat
uh,
up Shawn Michaels as well. Nobody
yeah,
likes Shawn Michaels.
yeah, I
Well, I can
know.
see Rick Rude, but I mean, if Shawn was shooting off at the mouth with Curt, disrespecting him and stuff, I could see Curt doing that. Be like, "Shut
Yeah,
up,
I could.
dude."
Yeah, Bret Hart did. I mean, Shawn Michaels, like in that whole incident
Pour
with the
out his
hair.
hair.
Yeah, where Bret
and
Hart beat him up. And
and Cornette's ex-wife has the hair.
yeah, according to
Ew, why would you
Cornette,
keep that?
apparently she still has the hair to this day.
Yeah,
It,
why would you
it
keep
never.
something like that?
I thought it would end up on eBay by now. She make a little money with it,
Really?
but
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
Cornette says his ex-wife still he gave it to her because she was a Shawn Michaels fan.
She was a big Shawn Michaels fan. I don't know if I'd have his hair. Ugh.
I don't think Shawn is the same guy he was back then. No, apparently he's a big Christian. He's a good guy now. You know, everybody loves him now.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about like what I read there off of X. Someone had found that, I guess, from an interview that Curt had done, and he called Shawn Michaels a pussy. So I can see maybe he did, but I never heard of Curt beating up Shawn
I
behind the
didn't either. That
scenes.
was a new one. I did
Yeah,
hear.
apparently the guy Sean that you and I
Uh
met on X,
huh.
excuse me, apparently he's like, "Oh yeah, Curt talked about it." And I was like, "He did? Where?
Mm,
When?"
I missed that.
Yeah, I missed
Um,
that too.
I know. I know the Marine beat up Shawn Michaels because he looked at his
Yep.
girl too much, and that's where he had the black eye and stuff on Raw. And it's like, and they try to claim that 7 Marines beat him up, but really, it's like it turns
It
out
was just
it's
like
one.
one.
Yeah, he just got his ass kicked. And Davy Boy tried to save him, but he was stuck in the back seat because he had one of those 2-door cars.
Yeah,
And the seat was back
yeah.
there. He's so big that he couldn't get out to save Sean's sorry ass. So it was like he got beat up. Like,
I
so
can't
the
believe Davy
Marine,
Boy would put up with that. No offense.
yeah, I mean, I think he's trying to protect him. He's one of the boys. So not even
If
hates
D
him.
ever
So
sees it, sorry D, but your boy had
uh,
issues apparently.
yeah, I think Davey wanted to protect him. He's one of the boys. He's a wrestler, even though he hated him probably. But
I was
is
gonna
that
say I don't think Davy Boy would shed a tear over Shawn Michaels.
yeah? But it was like wrestler code. You got to protect each other
Right, you
on the
gotta
road.
protect your boys.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
so the last thing I think we should talk about before we wrap up is the whole
yeah.
Vince McMahon thing.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm glad I forgot about that. So I'm glad you brought it up.
I
So
didn't forget about it because I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of,
yeah,
and it's not
so
really going to go
Vince
anywhere.
so now the Janelle Grant lawsuit is on hold because the US attorney in the Southern District of New York is actively investigating Vince McMahon and Laurinaitis and WWE to possibly file criminal charges against all three. So Janelle Grant's attorney says they're fully participating in that investigation, and they agreed to hold off on the lawsuit and put it on hold for the time being.
Who wants to bet that literally they're going to find nothing? Vince is worth billions. He can just pay for this to all go away.
Yeah,
So why isn't he?
he has a couple $1 billion in liquidity. He sold off all his stock from TKO, and he has a couple $1 billion in liquid assets. So liquidity means cash, by the way, if you guys
Yeah.
don't know what that means. So Assistant U.S. Attorney, the Southern District of New York, has filed a notice of appearance in the Grant versus WWE McMahon Laurinaitis case. The lawsuit is stayed pending a non-public investigation. And this is what you said is non-public.
Yeah,
So,
non-public. That means that it just sounds like they're going to investigate themselves and go, "Oh, we found no wrongdoing."
yeah, which is what you said to me on X. So it was like, yeah, to the clerk and court of all parties of record, in addition to counsel of record, blah, blah, blah. And please enter my appearance as counsel for the United States of America. Sarah Mortarisi, U.S. Attorney. So they're basically, the lawsuit's on hold, allegedly, until this new comment from Janelle Grant's attorney, Ann Callis. Let's see. Miss Grant is Ms. Grant has consented to a request by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York to stay her case against Mr. McMahon, WWE, and Mr. Laurinaitis. Pursuant to a pending non-public investigation, we will cooperate with all appropriate next steps. So I don't think this will really go anywhere. I'm not sure what lawsuit is going to go with. WrestleNomics has reached out to all parties in the case. A representative for the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment. Outlets like ABC News and Wall Street Journal have previously reported the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York is leading investigation related to sexual misconduct allegations against Vince McMahon. Unclear if this means that there be any criminal charges brought against Vince McMahon. As of this afternoon, a search for McMahon name does not show any new cases in the SDNY's online filing system. New comment from Vince McMahon's attorney Jessica Rosenberg to WrestleNomics. We remain confident that the evidence will prove Miss Grant's allegations are false and her complaint is nothing more than a fabricated, vindictive narrative from a disgruntled former girlfriend. So,
I mean,
that.
this just sounds like, backline paperwork.
Yeah.
And the reason, like I said, this may go somewhere, but again, it's non-public, so that means they're going to probably do a private investigation that no one's going to be privy to, and all we're going to find out is, oh well, we investigated and found no wrongdoing. You see this a million times, especially with rich people like Vince.
Yeah, Vince has a couple $1 billion, and he's smart to hire a female attorney because that way he can say, "You see, I can work with a female without
with a female,
without assaulting her and her being inappropriate." So a lot of these they know all the angles. It's like, oh yeah, give me a female attorney. So I'm accused of sexual misconduct. Okay, give me a female attorney. So I could say, you see, I'm working with her and I didn't harass her or anything like that.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm right with you, Angel. Yeah. It's just at this point, it's wasted taxpayer money at this point, but this is the way the world works.
Could I see them going after Vince for his connection to Trump? Maybe. I mean, that could be a realistic possibility.
I can see that more than this. Yeah, I can see them going after Vince for Trump, not over this, though. Yeah, this will probably be like,
they may use this case as an excuse, like to go after Vince.
They absolutely could.
Like, okay, you're friends with Trump. Okay, here's all these criminal charges now. So,
and now, don't you think Vince is kind of like, I shouldn't have done that? But I would not be surprised, and I said this with Kit too. I wouldn't be really surprised if he had ties to Jeffrey E. like Trump does. Well, everyone has to remember he still was partying with Jeffrey E. Guys.
Vince being a billionaire or a millionaire, then I'm sure, he would have been on Jeffrey's islands and in his little book and stuff. So
I'm surprised that hasn't come out, but then there are people that say it could have been hushed.
Yeah.
No one will ever get that little black book.
Yeah, because there's too many powerful people, not just in the U.S., but in a lot of Western countries, like UK, and a lot of the royal family went to those UK royal family. I think Prince King William's brother, I think, was a regular down there with Epstein. So, King William apparently has cancer, so we'll see how much time he has left before.
You mean King Philip? Prince William?
See, I'm confused now because I thought no, King Charles.
King Charles. King Charles has, yes, he does have cancer. Apparently, so does Kate.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I watch Redacted, but I watch it like a hate watcher now because, literally, they had Dennis Quaid on saying that solar flares are going to take out all of our electrical equipment. I went, well, that's funny. We had a really big solar flare back in 2003, and we're all still here, minus a couple of satellites. But they were saying, it's going to. I said, first of all, if you have to understand, I know this because I'm really into astronomy. I love learning about it. And the thing is that if a solar flare can take out our magnetic field, which we have around the Earth, there's a big, huge magnetic field. That's why we can have compasses. if there's a solar flare that can take out that
Mm.
that magnetic field, which I don't think can happen, but shit can happen.
Yeah, a bigger one,
Um, I mean,
possible.
literally, that would be the least of our worries is losing all of our electrical equipment. Literally, we would
Yeah.
lose our oceans. Our
Hmm.
oceans would boil. We would become like Mars. But
Oh
literally, that's
yeah.
what scientists think or astronomers think happened to Mars is that literally some kind of something got rid of their magnetic field
Hmm.
and like it's a thing, it got rid of the Mars magnetic field and literally their oceans just went away. So
Yeah.
if anything, just be afraid that a gamma ray burst would take
Yeah.
out all life on Earth because you would never see it
That's
coming.
no. That's more of a fear than a solar
A solar
flare.
flare, yeah. I mean,
A
because we
solar flare
have.
may
Go ahead.
take out one or two satellites, because they're there in that area. But
Right, it did in 2003, and we
yeah,
had that huge solar flare, which, if anyone who doesn't know astronomy, it's just bursts of energy that come out of the
the
sun,
sun. Mm.
and it flies through the. And we also have solar wind, which is
Yeah,
those particles. But then again, we have a magnetic field that protects us,
which
so that our
deflects it.
oceans don't boil. We don't lose our
Hmm.
atmosphere. That was the other thing. We'll lose our
Yeah,
atmosphere. Our
Mars.
seas will boil. There will be no more human life on the planet
No.
if that would happen. So
Uh,
thank whoever that we have thank the goddess. I'm
mhm,
Wiccan, so I can say this.
yeah.
Thank the goddess that we have a magnetic field, or otherwise there would be no life on planet Earth.
No, I mean we would all suffocate long before anything. We
Right.
lose
We would lose
anything
our
else.
atmosphere. Pretty much it would be
Mhm.
doomsday at that point.
Yeah, I mean, unless you can actively, you can actively know it's coming and then get
But yet
underground.
they
But
sit there and they act like that Dennis Quaid he's got it. He's an actor. He's not even a scientist. I said the same thing to my soulmate today
he's the
about Bill Gates. Bill
yeah.
Gates dropped out of college. He's never even seen a freaking medical school, and yet we go to him for medical advice. Are you
Hmm.
people crazy?
Yeah,
And people
because
want to go to him about, oh well, the climate change shit. Guys, he dropped out of college. He knows zilch about climate change. He knows zilch about climate, about anything.
he
Don't believe Bill Gates when he says, oh, well, you have to sacrifice,
he
not us rich people. We need our private jets, but maybe you shouldn't
mhm.
fly because that's climate change. Oh, go fuck yourself.
He dropped out of college and created an operating system that
Right.
happened
He
to
had
be
Windows.
glitchy and full of viruses to help the virus companies, make their money too. I'm pretty sure he might have owned a lot of them. So
Right.
yeah, so it's a scam. He's like, oh yeah, let me create a shitty operating system that can get viruses pretty
Right.
easily.
Right.
And the
And he
reason why I say,
monopolized on that. He didn't even really create it. It came from Steve Jobs when he did his first Apple, which was called Lisa.
uh-huh,
The computer was called Lisa, who was an illegitimate daughter of Steve
yes,
Jobs.
he ripped off Steve Jobs in
He
that
ripped off Steve
Windows.
Jobs and just created a monopoly. He didn't think of this himself, guys,
Yeah, and Apple sued Microsoft, and they were in like legal action for years.
for
They,
years.
yeah, over Windows because it was Steve Jobs thought it ripped off his operating system, the Lisa.
I'll be right out, honey, okay?
Yeah, we're almost done.
Shh, no, go. Sorry.
It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
but I just wanted to. I'm sorry, I went off on a
No,
tangent there. But yeah, the whole Vince thing, it just reminds me of, what they do with millionaires and billionaires who are above the law. They say, oh, well, Trump isn't above the law. Guess what, guys? Yeah, millionaires, and billionaires are because they don't go to jail for
but
any of the stuff that they do.
we
And they've
got to
done
hold.
worse.
And we talked about Trump and on this trial yesterday, but we got to hold Trump accountable, even though he's not going to jail. I mean, I told this to he's not going to jail, but at worst, the case is not overturned on appeal. At worst, he'll get probation or
Hmm.
some sort of slap on
Or
the
maybe
wrist.
like house arrest or something.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
the
living in the luxury, life
luxury
of
of
luxury.
Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah,
he's living. He
because
probably
again, they are above the law. The
yeah,
rich think that they are above the law, and that's why Jeffrey Epstein, or sorry, Jeffrey E, was literally, he was in a nice prison, and everyone knew he was a pedo, dude. I mean,
mm-hmm.
guys, they all knew that. they all went to the clubs together. They all hung out together. It's like a boys' club, like the wrestling thing, only if wrestlers were pedos. But none of the wrestlers were pedos except for one that I know of.
Yeah.
And that was Grizzly Smith.
Well, Terry Garvin was too.
Terry Garvin? Really?
Yeah, the Ring Boy scandal, in the early 90s. He was
Oh,
involved
I
in that.
forgot about that. Yeah, okay, so a couple. One or two. But I mean, this is like that on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
They want literally all of our
too
kids
much.
to be sex slaves, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Trump isn't going to prison. I mean, hell, they're already. Even I saw this last night on Univision because, it happened to be on. One of the analysts were saying, well, I mean, the judge has to think about the campaign, and he can't really put Trump in jail because if that's, then he'll spend few months in jail. He can't campaign, and then his supporters will say it's political interference in the elections.
Prosecution,
Yeah,
I
persecution.
mean, but at this point, I agree with Jimmy Dore. They have to rig an election or they're not going to win. Because there's people
Biden
now who are
can't
coming
win.
out of the woodwork saying, F the establishment, I'm going to vote for Trump.
Yeah, I've had plenty of friends on X saying, but Trump's donation site crashed within 2 hours.
Yeah,
After
they made $34.5 million in one day.
Yeah,
with
in like
small
12
dollar
hours.
donations. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was seeing like some liberals, like the Young Turks, making excuses for that. Like, oh well, I mean,
God,
they're racist, so of course
Young
you're gonna give money
Turds.
to Trump. And I think somebody else, Mike Figueredo, made excuses for that. Well, I mean, we have to hold Trump accountable, so we can take
Well,
that.
then
We have
let's
to
hold
take
Bill
that
Gates
risk.
accountable because they all want to literally. Gates owns more farmland in the United States than any other farmer. They want to take out our food supply so they can literally starve us into submission, guys.
Yeah,
I wish I was making this up, but
Bill Gates is.
literally. They're doing it. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeffrey Bezos. Again, Klaus Schwab said into a camera while it was rolling that we will own nothing, be happy, and eat the bugs. Guys, I don't want to eat bugs, okay?
Yeah, I don't either. Klaus Schwab apparently resigned from that organization, WEC or whatever.
But he's still going to have something to do with it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to go away completely, but he's resigned apparently. Somebody else is going to take over it.
Well, and that's because they also were talking about how many people are the WEF influencing, because they put those people that are WEF sluts, is what I call them.
Yeah.
They literally put them into governments. Canada. Any
Trudeau.
Western government, yeah.
Justin Trudeau, he's the Prime Minister of Canada.
And he's
he was part of
WEF slut.
Yeah. Because I think Snow Himbo, we had him. He was on the chat last night talking about Trudeau, and it was like, yeah, I mean, he's awful. And yeah, what else? Trump. Yeah, they're not holding Trump accountable. Like he wants this. In fact, I think he would want to go to jail because it would be worse. It would be worse for liberals.
But
it
would be better for him. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to go to jail. It's like he's looking for because why do you think he kept breaking?
They just made him a martyr.
Orders?
Yeah.
They martyred him without even realizing it. They're so stupid. It's like
they are stupid. So stupid.
Yeah.
All right. I know. I'm coming. Just give me one more minute, okay? Okay. I'm sorry. I really gotta go.
No. Yeah, I mean,
my son's like, "Come on, Mom, let's go."
That'll do it for this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. Please like, please subscribe. Tomorrow I have a baseball episode at 7.
Sorry, go ahead.
With me and Karen, who had it on yesterday, and Alex, and hopefully Dio will come. Maybe Steph can come. We'll see.
Maybe. I have an episode of Black Magic Talk that I'm doing. A gentleman from the UK, so that'll be at 3 p.m. It's going to be recorded. It won't be, it won't be live or anything, but we're definitely going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, so that'll be tomorrow at 7. I'm coming back again. And I'm probably going to do a Sunday show more often just because, I mean, I have, because I like doing this. So it's like, yeah, I'll probably do a Sunday show. Not every Sunday, but at least a few times a month. And yeah, that'll be tomorrow.
Love you, Earl.
Yeah, thank you.
And your mama.
Support. And yeah, make sure you watch Angel in the Afternoon, Friday at 7. I forgot the day of my own show. And Pro Wrestling Talk, I said Sunday at 7. Pro Wrestling Talk is Saturday
8 p.m.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. I have another episode coming out. Episode 36 is Curt's match with Jeff Jarrett in WCW. It was a great match, I thought, and we talk a little bit about the whole. This is back when they were complaining about the whole Jim Cornette thing and the Swerve picture. So I didn't really say anything other than I don't vote the way Cornette votes, so we'll see if YouTube likes the word or doesn't like the word. So we'll see. Check that out. That will be coming out tomorrow on YouTube, and then 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rumble. On Rumble has the theme, and YouTube has the little blurb at the beginning there where Curt is like, I'm absolutely perfect or something like that. So catch out. Also, Black Magic Talk. I'm gonna probably upload that on Monday. So look for that Monday, probably afternoonish, whenever I can get in, and I'll probably be watching Kit Cabello while I'm uploading the new episode. So check that out.
So those plugs out of the way. Thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next Saturday for Pro Wrestling Talk, 8:00 Eastern. Have a nice weekend, everybody. See you tomorrow.